cool.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another evening of the Ron Henry live stream. Tonight's a very special night. I was able to convince Princess Cut Lawn Care George to come and hang out on the channel with us tonight. Should be an awesome time. So same format. I'm going to take your questions, any questions you guys have about things going on your lawn, things, any goals you have. Definitely throw them both our way, and we will do our best to answer them. So let's see if technology will cooperate here. I'm going to see if I can bring George in. George, you there?
Hey, what's going on, Ron? How you feeling, buddy?
Always good, man. Always good. Good. Thanks so much for hanging out in the live stream, agreeing to come on, man. The audio and everything sounds great, and I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, it won't be a marathon tonight like it's been the last few sessions, but should be a great time.
Hey, Ron. You know what? I gotta say, man. I think I speak for everybody that's watching these live streams, but I have a hardcore respect to your consistency, bud.
Thank you, sir.
4 hours on a live stream, that's some serious business.
Well, I mean, everyone else shows up. They ask the questions, so I feel obligated to help out as much as I can. So we'll, as long as I can do it,
dedication.
I'll do it. There you go. That's the plan. So let's see what we have tonight in the live stream. So first up, the honor, we have Mark F. He's the first one. Yep, Mark, so we got to acknowledge that. Pacific Northwest Lawn, what's going on? And Mr. Putz stopping in just to say, hey, real quick, says he can't watch tonight, but stopping in just to smash that like button. I appreciate it, sir. See, now we haven't done anything yet to really warrant it, but you've touched that like button ever so gently. So we definitely appreciate that, as always. Muhammad's in the house. Daryl Tunstall's in the house. Let's see what else we got going on. So guys, definitely, as always, get your questions queued up. We're going to run through them in the order that they come in the chat. And again, will probably be a combination of me giving my answer and George giving his feedback as well, too. So the first question we got here is actually from Pacific Northwest Lawns. It's actually for George. He says, how long, until George sells off all of his reel mowers? I'm kidding, of course. So, I mean, what's this, George? You sell a reel mower lately?
Yeah, actually I did. As a matter of fact, I know you're just giving out some shout-outs. I see Jason Cyberlick. Sorry. Sometimes it's hard for me to pronounce that, but I got it down. He actually just picked up my greens mower recently. It was 1989 Greensmaster 1000. So
Nice.
he's mowing his lawn right now at like 1/8 of an inch, if you could believe it. And it's a cool season lawn too.
Oh, wow.
He overseeded with some bent grass. I saw the video that he posted. And he just picked up the Greensmaster. And I got to say, it's in a much better place right now, doing what it's meant to do.
Right.
So shout out to Jason in the chat. I see you, buddy. And also Pacific Northwest Lawns. He's sitting in the cockpit tonight. And definitely shout out to him. Thank you so much for helping out Pacific Northwest.
Very cool.
Man.
Well, I'm sure we'll have to get into what real mower you sold the Greensmaster, so obviously you replaced it with something. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Let's see. Our first question we have here is from Rob Robachek. Hopefully, Rob, I'm not butchering your name. I think it's Robachek. That's what I think I'm going to go with. He says, hey guys, I am going to put down a low rate of a new, which I think is a PGR, on my turf type tall fescue today with an adjuvant. Can I apply Cytogro and Nutrizol at the same time? No rain in the forecast for 3 days. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any negative to doing that. So this is a great segue into a point that was brought out last week, Rob. So I know last week someone, I forget who it was in the live stream, was saying that if you put down PGR, you shouldn't put down any seaweed or kelp or certain types of products, right? And I actually spoke with Jim from BioPro about that, and what he was saying is that it was kind of a misunderstanding, in the sense that you can put them down together, right? There's no issue with that. But I mean, if you're dealing with a PGR like T-Nex, like that Trinexpect ethyl, that works by blocking gibberellic acid synthesis, right? So it's trying to block the growth hormone that makes the grass grow tall. Certain seaweed products or additive products can help stimulate gibberellic acid production. So in some ways, that's what he meant, in that you could be working against yourself depending on what kind of seaweed product you're using. But as far as the two of them going together and it causing a problem, no issues whatsoever. Right? So I can tell you, I have used Nutrizol. Cytogro, I've not used that personally as yet, but I have used Nutrizol with T-Nex, and I didn't see any negatives or any no problems with regulation. Now I'm looking here. The active ingredient in that PGR you're talking about is prohexadione calcium. I've never used that particular PGR before, so I don't know if there are any weird interactions. But I can tell you with T-Nex, from both what Jim told me and also from my personal testing, there's been no negative result. In other words, I haven't gotten less regulation by applying a Nutrizol, which is again, it's like 24% seaweed extract along with my growth regulator. So you should be good to go, man. And the big thing I would say is you said no rain in the forecast for 3 days, which is good. Yeah, I mean you don't want to put down PGR and have it rain like an hour later. Really, if you get 3 to 4 hours of dry weather, you're pretty good to go. Like especially if you're dealing with Nutrizol, that one absorbs is taken up by the plant really, really quickly. So yeah, I mean, you should be good to go. If you got 3 days and no rain, you should be having no problem whatsoever. So great question. Definitely let us know how it works out. George, have you used that one before? And have you ever used that particular PGR before?
Actually, as a matter of fact, Ron, I want to build off of that question. So my question to you is, what exactly is the difference between a new and, say, T-Nex? Because I'm a hardcore T-Nex user. I love using it. Thickens up the lawn, especially over here in Chicago. We got the hot, humid continental climate, so the summers are tough, and it gives it a little bit of drought resistance. So what would be the difference, and can I use a new on cool season grass?
So I've never actually used a new before. I'm looking at the label here on Do My Own. Actually, we can pull it up and we can go through this together. The differences between the active ingredient in a new and in T-Nex are different. I'm not familiar with what prohexadione calcium does, like how it regulates growth. I know that T-Nex blocks gibberellic acid synthesis, so I'm not actually sure what the differences between the two of them are. But we can pull that up and we can show the viewership. Let's see here. Yep, technology's working.
I know aside from the T-Nex, what's the other one you like to use? I remember seeing a video.
Yeah, so there's one I was using for a while called I'm drawing a blank. It's in a green bottle. Oh, green and white bottle. I'll have to look it up.
It's like $500 a bottle or something.
No, it's really expensive stuff. But I'll look it up here while we're answering questions. I'll tell you what it is. So this one has a different active ingredient than what's in T-Nex, and it says that it's safe for warm and cool season grass, and it's rated for residential lawns. The other one, the PGR that I was using before, I don't use that one anymore because that PGR actually isn't rated for use on residential lawns. Like I think I covered this in the live stream last week, but the company that makes it pretty much like they went ahead and they put in for they submitted to the EPA to get like their stamp or their the certification that they could get the product certified for residential lawns, and they withdrew it because they just decided not to compete in that space. So the reason I'm drawing a blank. I actually still have some in my garage, but they stopped selling it, or it was never really marketed or actually labeled for residential use, which is why I stopped using it, right? And you've noticed I haven't put out any more videos actually talking about it anymore, but yeah, that's the reason why I don't use it anymore. And T-Nex honestly works great. T-Nex is a lot less expensive. The only negative I'd say about T-Nex is if you don't mix any like a little bit of liquid fertilizer with it, a little bit of nitrogen, when you put it down, you are going to get some yellowing. And if you put a little bit of like a light nitrogen application along with your T-Nex app, that is going to take the edge off of that yellowing. So really outside of that, T-Nex works great. It doesn't regulate as long as the other plant growth regulator I'm talking about. The other one went for 6 to 8 weeks, and T-Nex is really 3 to 4 weeks thereabouts.
Wow.
So that's a big difference. But I'm not actually familiar with the new. I've never actually used that one before, so I can't actually tell you. What is so
Rob I'm looking over here in the comments, and Rob brings up a good point. He said they say that new helps with POA. I don't know how bad you guys get POA down south, but I know definitely with the T-Nex it helps regulate seed. It helps suppress the seeds on the POA annua, which we have a big problem with that up here.
Yep. So I just looked it up on my videos. It's Tide Paclo. That's the Tide Paclo. That's the one I was using before. Yeah. So there you go. Well, great question, Rob. So you got a very, very complete answer to your question, hopefully. And let us know how it works out, man. It sounds like you are gonna have some fun with some plant growth regulator. We got SoCal Lawn Care in the house, and the 2 big dogs are in the house. And I don't know about that, sir. Just 2 guys that love grass and love YouTube, right? So thank you for chiming in, taking some time out of your evening, sir. We really appreciate it. All right, so we have another question up tonight from D6 Paintball. I'm guessing he's a paintball player. And he says, what would you tackle first? overall bumpiness, in other words, lots of small bumps, or large high-low spots when leveling for the first time? Both, I guess. So the idea. So here's what how I would answer that. D6. Really, when I level my lawn, I don't like to beach the lawn like a lot of people like to do, where they'll put like literally an inch of sand on top of it and try and get everything all level in one go. Literally, I will apply sand to the lawn, see, and up until like the grass blades are just barely coming through, and at that point, that's all I'm getting out of that particular top dress. So, in other words, if you top dress the way I do it, you're going to get both. You're going to get a lot of the small little dips that you have. You're going to take the edge off of those. And if any of the bigger bumps, you may have a second top dress to really even those out nicely. But I mean, overall, I would say don't go crazy heavy as far as the amount of sand you put down. And really what you get is what you get. And you can just simply do it again. On the subject of top dressing, like literally, guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but like George can tell you, he's probably panicking a little bit. I literally ran downstairs from the shower. I got out of the shower, threw my shirt on, and came down because today, Alex and I were out there doing some work in the lawn. Actually, I'll show you guys a short video. I promise I'm not going to make it too long, like a little 12-second clip. So if you guys were watching Instagram, you guys saw we aerated the lawn today, right? Because we wanted to get the lawn all ready for top dressing tomorrow. But you know how we are. We're like, what? The aerating's done. We got a little bit more time for the show tonight. Let's get started. So we went out and kicked off working on the lawn. And this is before getting on the show tonight. But we did a lot. We got a lot of the sand down. And tomorrow is just to kind of rake it in, level it, add a little bit more sand in some low areas, and then do something special that you guys are going to have to subscribe to the channel and, make sure you watch when the video comes out to see what that is. I can't release that part. I can't tell you, the top dressing's happening. I can't tell you all the good stuff. I got to put a little, anticipation. But yeah, but if you looking at that, like how heavy that is, I would shoot for something like this D6 whenever you. That's what you're going for. So do something like that, and what you get is what you get. And then what you can do is 6 to 8 weeks later, simply repeat the process again if it's not smooth enough for you, if that makes sense. All right. So you're gonna get a little bit of both, but if you're top dressing per the Ron Henry approach, like how I like to do it, you'll get a good result. You'll be happy with how it looks, and you just have to do multiple sessions to get everything pool table smooth. Great question.
Hey Ron, I gotta ask you. When I saw the picture of that leveling mix that you had, it looks pretty dry. Do you have any advice for people that are looking for dry materials? Because on my leveling videos specifically, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding people are getting wet materials.
Sure. So the material I'm using is from Supersod. So everyone knows them for their soil cube. It's like their humate, their compost, their really, really rich compost. That is, if memory serves me, there's manure in it. There are grass clippings from their Zoysia, and I think it's barley that they use. There's like 3 components that they use that they compost, and they cook it. They do a lot of things to make sure there's no trash in it. They add some healthy bacteria to it. So it's a really, really rich material that you can use for just improving the quality of your soil. But then they also have a level mix product, which has 70% quartz sand or silica sand. And what that means is you think, well, what is silica sand, right? The sand that I always tell you guys to use in most cases to top dress your lawns is like river sand, right? Which is like river sand, masonry sand, same kind of thing. The sand that Superside uses, this quartz sand, is the same type of sand that's used on golf courses. And it's the difference between it and river sand is that it's very, very hard, right? So as far as like putting down a sand that is going to resist a lot of wear, that's a really, really good benefit of it, right? So you take like a really, really good organic material, very high grade sand. Again, they say it's like USGA grade sand. It's the kind of sand you would see used on golf courses. You put those together with a lot of really good screening, and I can tell you it's an awesome product. Like, I have top dressed my lawn. This is going to be the 4th time. That stuff is by far the best material I've ever used. Now, unfortunately, of course, what's that tell you? It's really, really good, which means it's not inexpensive, right? It's not cheap. However, it was very dry, no garbage in it. It's just really, really good stuff. So if you are in, I think, Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina, they will deliver in those areas. And that's what I mean. It's great stuff. Like really awesome stuff. So yeah, if you guys are actually looking to do that, I've got a link for you guys that you can use to pick it up. I think here, I'll have to see if I can find it. Let's see here. I think I've got one.
That's really good advice, Ron, because I've had my fair share of dirty leveling mixes, man. I mean, the dirt companies around here, they just kind of get that fill dirt from like where they remove swimming pools and all that stuff, and they just throw God knows what kind of sand in it, and they mix it up and they call it a leveling mix, you know?
Yeah, that's what I typically find is not so much that the sand is the problem; it's the organic material they put in that can be kind of the issue. That's what can bite you, right? So this stuff, again, not inexpensive. I just put a link in the chat for anyone that's interested in looking at that. It's really good stuff. Not cheap, but it's like if you want like the Mac Daddy, like the cat's meow to put down on your lawn, really good stuff. I'm really happy with it. We got through really quickly, largely due to how easy that product goes down, how easily it spreads. I didn't pick up a single stone today, not one. There's no garbage in it at all. So really good stuff. So there you go, D6 Paintball. You got a very long answer to your question, but hopefully it was useful. Let's see what else we got in here in the chat. We got Papa Moslow. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming to hang out with us. We appreciate it. And you have a question around aerating and headway G. So the question you have is, how long should I wait to aerate after applying headway G? So there's not really a connection, Papa Moslow. Really, the headway, you put it down, you water it in, it's going to work its way down into the soil and then begin working. So if you could aerate and then apply it, or you could literally apply it and aerate the next day, and as long as you're watering it in, you get good results with it. It's not like in other words, it's not like pre-emergent where when you aerate you are disturbing that barrier and potentially getting a less effective result. There's nothing that I'm aware of anyway in the label that has restrictions around aerating and applying that a particular fungicide. So you should be good to go. Awesome. And guys, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, now here guys, I know we are only 15 minutes in, but George is giving tons of value. We're having lots of questions. And if you guys wouldn't mind touching that like button ever so gently while I take a sip of my lemonade, I would really appreciate it. It's free to you. Easy way to support the live stream and the channel. And I would appreciate that. Thanks so much.
I had to throw that in there, Ron.
See, I got to get to one of your soundboards, man. I don't have any cool sound effects. I got to get that going. Definitely. Your production value is definitely better than mine on live streams for sure. All right, let's see what else.
I haven't done a live stream in a long time, man. I'm feeling a little rusty, but it feels good to get back behind the wheel.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. People like it. They enjoy it. All right, so we got Jason, the purveyor of your reel mower, the person that took your mower. We got Andy's Outdoor Lawn Care. Thanks for coming to hang out, Andy. I really appreciate that. And let's see what other questions we got going on here. Daniel Robinson in the house. And Jay Pompano, Mr. Carbon Pro G himself. I think Jay sent me a picture of him throwing down a ton of Carbon Pro G. So, I mean, I'm glad that you're having a great result with that, Jay. And thanks for chiming in. He says, love the show. Domination line going on over here. And my neighbors are jelly. Thank you, man, for the love and you love every minute of it. Thank you so much for watching, sir. And I'm glad that the domination line is in full effect. Now, here's the thing, Jay. I don't want you guys to just start having domination lines. It's fine to have the domination line for the first month of the season. No problem with that. But eventually, if the neighbor comes over and says, hey, Jay, you know what? I'm tired of this, man. Like, I mean, I don't know what you're doing to your grass, but I need my grass to look like yours. You got to share some of the love, man. You got to share some of the love. You know the secret. So now you have to bring someone else along in the process. So I'm glad that you're having a great evening. And thank you for coming to hang out. All right, let's see what else we got here. Saul Rodriguez is in the house. We have a question from Ron Tiffany. He's got to be a good guy. His name's Ron. He says, I'm in Minnesota. Is it too early for sight go? I don't know. In Minnesota, how is your grass looking? Is it like greening up already, Ron? If so, you can probably put it down without any issue. I mean, I think you'd still get some value out of it, but really once the grass is really actively growing and really starting to green up well, is probably where you need to get a little bit more value out of that particular product. What about you, George? So I mean, I know you're a cool season guy. You're in Chicago area. Like, what are you guys doing at this time of year? To try and get things going. Are you mowing yet, or what's going up in that part of the country?
Yeah, if you could believe it or not, I still haven't mowed my front lawn, which is 100% Kentucky bluegrass. I do have tall fescue in the back that I've mowed twice already.
Right.
But with the KVG, I'm just not mowing it yet. So right now, I'm just trying to get the growing season started off slowly. I applied a light application of fertilizer. And, I'm seeing a little bit of growth, but I don't think it's enough to quite get out there to mow, because it's at a 1/2 inch right now. And
Right.
I think we'll get into that a little bit later about what mower I'm getting, but I'm super excited for that. So for right now, I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting for that surprise.
I got you. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. On
Yeah.
the subject of mowers, Robert Wallace is saying, "Hey Ron, thanks for the advice of the GM 1600. The mower has an 11 blade reel. Nice, very very nice. I having been a person that just recently gotten 11 blade, I like it. As long as you're mowing between 1/4 inch and 3/4 of an inch, you should have great results with it." Robert, you said you picked it up yesterday. You mowed with it today. Love the experience. I can see how you get addicted. And Robert, on another note, I also wanted to wish you a very special happy birthday. I know that you're a veteran and you've been on the channel for a while. And someone reached out to me. I'm not going to tell you who it was and asked me to wish you a very happy birthday. And so thank you for your service, sir. And I appreciate the fact that you take some time out of your Friday to come hang out with us in the live stream and for everything you've done for this country, and now everything you're about to do for your lawn. If anything we can help out with, definitely let me know. So congrats on the mower, and again, happy birthday.
On the topic of that, Ron, I wanted to ask you. So your Greens Master, is it 11 blade too?
Mine is an 11 blade, yeah. So it's a 1600 and it's an 11 blade. So what happened is it went in for. So again, I hate to relive this, but I see what you're doing to me. You're making me live it all over again. So I had a problem with concrete. I'm not going to go into details. I'm going to say I had a problem with concrete. That's always all we're going to say.
That will never happen again, right?
Right. It's not going to. Hopefully not. And when I took it in to the nice folks at Jerry Pate, Joey and the guys, they got the parts in. And we went to an 11 blade reel, and that's what I got back with the mower, and it's been pretty awesome. It's a kind of an expensive experiment because had it not worked well, it'd be expensive to change it back. But from the research that I've been doing on Toro's website, as long as you're at 1/2 inch, that's really the Goldilocks zone. And if you're mowing at a fast rate, which is with me, my mower, I run it flat out. Literally, I line it up and it's as fast as the mower will cut is as fast as I'm running. And it does a beautiful job. Like 8 blade is good. If you're at 1/2 inch, 11 blade is it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That's all I can say. But you got to mow a lot. But it's
I'm a little nervous because my new mower that I got coming is actually a 6 bladed. And I'm usually mowing around like 0.6 inches. So I'm a little nervous about that because I'm going from an 11 reel to 6 or 11 blade to a 6 blade.
We'll see. It should be all right. It should be okay. Yeah, I mean, worst case, I mean, I know you haven't released the mower, but maybe there might be an option for another different type of blade on that mower eventually if you're not liking the cut. Here's the thing: those problems can always be fixed, right? So, get it in and see what you think. Okay, so we got a cool season question. I'm not sure how much help I'm going to be on this one, but we'll see. So Ashim Shrestha said, Tenacity didn't stop Japanese silt grass from germinating for my spring seeding with turf-type tall fescue. What can I do? I am 14 DHE, and I see a lot of silt grass coming up. I'm not sure if you got anything for that one, George. I'm not sure on that one. Again, I'm not really a cool season guy. Yep.
Yeah, when it comes to the grassy weeds, my usual defense is like, Tenacity because it's good at killing and preventing grassy weeds. But as far as Japanese silkgrass goes, I'm not 100% sure, but I could definitely do some research on that and get back to you.
Yeah, so Ashimi, so we owe you some research on that. The one thing I will say, when Tenacity is used as a pre-emergent, that the timing on it, from what I understand, a little bit of research I've done on Tenacity, the timing on the application matters. In other words, it's not going to be as good of a pre-emergent as say something like prodiamine, but it's like a kind of like how Dithiopyr is really a pre-emergent, but it has some reach back and that it can kill crabgrass. Like Tenacity, from my understanding, is primarily a post-emergent herbicide, but has some pre-emergent properties in it. But it's not as good as like a dedicated pre-emergent like prodiamine it would be. So perhaps it could have been the timing of how you applied it. It might be that it's not necessarily rated to prevent Japanese siltgrass. But again, I've not done the research, and we owe you an answer on that. So I will make a note of that. And if you chime into the live stream next week, and even if you don't, I will make sure that we get that question answered. So I got a screenshot of it, so I owe you an answer on that one. Great question. All right, so let's see what we got here. We got CJ Martin in the house, Will Dog Hale States in the house. Sonny Jones, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight with George and myself. And Helmet Ruckus, man. Every time I see your avatar, I always get jealous, man. One day you have to tell me more about this Porsche you got, because you always show it off every time you're in the live stream. All right, so let's see what other questions we have here. So Craig Dills has a question. He says, Ron Henry, exclamation points. This is probably a very serious question. He says, any tips for getting rid of common Bermuda in a Tiff-Tuff lawn? This stuff is fierce. Not really. I don't have one for you on that, Craig. I mean, I know some people will say that you can use like glyphosate at light rates, and that will, that common Bermuda is more susceptible to that than like Tiff-Tuff. But I've never personally tested that, so I wouldn't want to recommend that you spray glyphosate on your lawn. That's a tough one. The problem is you're dealing with two alphas, right? The common and the Tiff-Tuff. The one thing I could say that can help, what might help the Tiff-Tuff establish dominance or help it spread more, is common Bermuda typically does not like to be mowed quite as short as the hybrids do, right? So like the Tiffway 419 and Arden 15 lawn that I got, my mutt lawn that I'm cultivating here, I can mow that at half an inch all day long. It loves it, no problem, right? Common Bermuda does not like being mowed at lower heights, whereas Tiff-Tuff will do that with no issue. So if you can mow the Tiff-Tuff lower, that might add a little bit of stress to the common. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. Like Bermuda, getting rid of Bermuda once it's in your lawn is really, really hard. So I don't really have a clear answer for you as far as how to get rid of it. George, what do you think?
I'm not a professional when it comes to warm season grass, but let me ask you this. What's your go-to herbicide for using in Bermuda? Because I know that, the herbicides, a lot of the cool season stuff can't be used in Bermuda. Mm-hmm. I've heard mixed things about like using 2,4-D or even like Tenacity in Bermuda. So what is like, Bermuda. Yeah, unless it's dormant, right?
This is dormant. And I just anytime you have to, you add the unless it's dormant caveat into using a herbicide, first of all, I will not be someone that's going to tell someone to do that, because, for good example, my lawn never really fully went dormant last year. Like, even there were days when it was in the 20s and there were still, I went down and looked near the base, there were still some sections where you could see a little bit of green. So my lawn never really fully went dormant. So if I had sprayed glyphosate or Tenacity or something like that on it, I could have damaged the Bermuda, right? As far as herbicides, here's the thing. You're not going to believe this, but I really don't spray post-emergence on my lawn. Like, literally, it gets pre-emergent in the spring, pre-emergent in the fall, and it gets a ton of mowing. Like, I keep saying this, and people may not believe me, but like mowing your lawn at the correct height, at least Bermuda anyway, like nice and low and regularly, is some of the best weed control you can get. If you want to do, any kind of post-emergent weed control, like that Spectricide product, the one I just did the video on, is a good product. It's not super expensive. It works. It's a good combination because it's got some chloroc in it. It's got 2,4-D. It's like a blend of good post-emergent herbicides. That is probably what I would use. The one thing that I did on my lawn last year was I did have to put down some Speed Zone and Dismiss to get rid of some spurge that got into my lawn based on the top dressing mix that was brought in, right? But that's really an isolated case. Outside of that, I really don't use pre-emergent or use a lot of post-emergence on my lawn. I don't see the need to. Like, pre-emergent and a lot of mowing does the trick for me, at least in my case. But great question. So we got another question here from Super TA. It's a good one here. He says, hey, Ron, what do you use to keep your reel lubricated, and how often do you apply? I've been using WD-40, but it starts to get gunked up and filthy. So I don't use WD-40 on my reel. I do have a grease gun that I use to hit the Zerg fittings on the mower. I do that like once a month. But I don't actually lubricate the reel. Literally, the only, as far as like regular maintenance that my mower gets is I'll mow with it, and after I'm done, every time religiously, I rinse it off. I rinse the reel off, get grass clippings, all that garbage off of it, and then I put it up. And I don't necessarily put any lubricant on the reel or bed knife as a matter of like regular maintenance. Like, when I'm done for the year, like, good example, this December, right? When it's all done, I take it to Jerry Pate, they freshen it up for me and they give it back to me. I will spray some WD-40 on the reel and bed knife just to kind of protect it, kind of put a nice little barrier on it. But I clean that off before I start mowing the following season. So I don't use WD-40 I don't put anything in particular on the reel and bed knife as far as a lubricant. I don't really think it's actually necessary. George, what about you? Do you put anything on yours?
Yeah, Ron, if I could pitch in, I was gonna say, what's going on, Super TA? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I know he stays up there in New Jersey, you know, up in the North Atlantic, so he probably has a lot of rust issues like I do too, you know. So with me, I like to use fluid film on my reel to prevent rust.
Okay.
And the reason I like using fluid film is because it's all natural. It's not made from any solvents. So if you put that on your reel, not only is it going to prevent rust, but you don't have to worry about any solvents touching your lawn and, you know, potentially burning your grass. So I would definitely look into that, Bill, fluid film.
Cool. There you go. So you got an organic answer, an organic option for taking care of your reel.
Yeah, because you don't want the WD-40 to rub all over your grass and everything, you know?
No, absolutely not. You definitely don't want that. Definitely don't want that. So this is a tough question. Again, Stan G, thanks for coming to chime in tonight. So John D's got a question about reels again. He says, is there a true difference in reels between brands or high-end quality, i.e. Toro versus McLean versus Scott's versus True Cut, etc.? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If the reel that's on a John Deere or on a True Cut or on a Toro, like the material they use is harder. It's you know, if you look at the everything that goes into putting together, like the Toro actually has a video that they explain everything that goes into making one of their Edge series reels. They're that proud of them. So it's the metal. The metal they use is of really good grade. Like it's heat treated properly. It's just the metal that's used between the reel and bed knife. Like there's thought put into that. So one thing I will tell you is that with my True Cut, towards the end of the season, right? When I mow with the True Cut all season, towards the end of the season, like late July-ish, like it stops cutting paper. It just loses its edge. It doesn't remain as sharp as long as it as it could. With my Greensmaster, literally when I took it into Jerry Pate this fall to have them work on it, it was still cutting paper. So the settings on it, and I guess the hardness of the material is such that it doesn't wear as quickly. So I can only speak to the mowers that I have. I have a True Cut and I've got a Toro. The Toro definitely, as far as like the tolerances and just the hardness of the material and its wear resistance, is definitely better than that of the True Cut. I can't speak to a McLean's. I don't have one of those. The Scott's, I mean, here's the thing. The Scott's, the metal that they use in a Scott's reel is not going to be as good as the metal that's used in any power reel mower. Because I mean, you think about it, like a perfect example. The reel for a Greensmaster costs, depending which one you get, anywhere between $350 to $450, right? Like an entire Scott's reel mower is like $150. So like just the reel costs more than the entire mower. So you know it's there's obviously going to be some quality differences there. So to answer your question, I would say like push reel mowers, that's one level, one tier. When you get into your basic reel mowers, so like your McLean's, your California trimmers, your True Cuts, that's probably another tier or slightly better material. I can't speak to the Swordsman or the Allet to know how good their metal is, but then the best is going to be what's in a John Deere or a Toro, because those are like professional grade reel mowers that are greens mowers that are designed to run every day for hours on end. So the material that they use in them has to be better, right? So that's probably the best way to answer your question. Go ahead, George.
Sorry to interrupt you, bud. But yeah, I was gonna say, you know, I don't want to throw shade towards like R&R products or anything, but if you do have a Toro Greensmaster or a John Deere, I definitely highly recommend you buy the reels and the bed knives from Toro or from John Deere. And the reason I say that is because one of my good friends is a golf course mechanic, and he told me that there's a big difference in the steel quality when you buy it directly from the dealer, or if you buy it from like a generic version from R&R products.
I can see that. I mean, it's at the end of the day, you get what you pay for, right? Like buying granted, it's easy to say buy one from Toro because it's better. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but it is more expensive for a reason, right? That's why, like, anytime I get questions, John D, around like, you know, is a Greensmaster better than like a McLean? Well, yes, they're not even really in the same category. It should be, because it costs a lot more, right? So it's the same thing with reels. You do get a boost in quality when you pay more money for it. So Great question. So I got a question here from Tony, and Tony, you probably have to send me your results so I can look at it. But he says, "Hey Ron, what do I do for high calcium and sulfur?" So Tony, you are the winner. You get to be the first person I throw my email address up on the screen for. So if you send me your soil test results, well, actually they're on George. Look at where George is. To ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send your soil test results there. I'll look at them.
Don't worry about me.
So yeah, I'll send them there. I'll look over them and I'll get you a response. So yeah, send me the results. I can see what you mean by how high. Like how high is really high, and we'll go from there. I'll get an answer for you. Great question. Thank you so much, sir. All right,
That's awesome. You did that, Ron. I gotta say, man.
What's
Getting
that?
getting the soil interpreted by you. That's an awesome giveaway.
I like it. It's fun. I mean, it's. I'm probably setting myself up for a lot of pain here as the channel keeps growing. But it's again, I can do it now. And it's a way to help out, so why not do it, right? I always say I'm a firm believer, and if you can help somebody out, why not? It's not gonna, it's just a little bit of my time, and I would want someone to do it for me. So there you go.
You're the
All
man,
right.
Ron.
I don't know about that, but it's I appreciate it. And plus, here's the thing: just selfish reasons. I like looking at soil test data. Like I like if I can get the person to tell me like what part of the country they're in. It's a cool way to learn about how soils are in different parts of the country. So just from my knowledge, it's kind of cool to see that as well too. Very.
I see Brett's Grasscapades just entered the stream.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Brad? We got a real Mowing legend up in here, man.
That's right. I mean, because Brad will point out, and Alan will tell you, Brad is one of the few people that has had like a dominating lawn as a cool season lawn and a dominating lawn as a warm season lawn. He's working on that. I'm not sure if he's top dressed yet. He's been kind of tight-lipped about what he's planning to do. But I'm sure that Brett is going to get that Bermuda lawn looking right once he gets around to it. All right. So Travis, Bermuda Yard, saying the Golf Course Lawn Squad. Thanks for coming to hang out, Travis. Really, really appreciation of that. Thanks so much. And let's see what other questions we have here. Jeremy White saying, "Let's go. Good day, big bro. I ordered the Lebanon Turf Humic Max and Liquid First you recommended. Great stuff." And I guess you're talking about the Turfplex. Again, you're not really seeing it that well tonight because the live stream's set in half. But I mean, yeah, the Turfplex and Humic Max are a great combination if you're planning to spoon feed your lawn. It's a really, really good combination. So I think you're gonna like the results you get with it, Jeremy. So yeah, let me know if you need any help whatsoever. All right, Tim Borski's in the house. What else we got? We got Sharper Man in the house. What's going on, sir? And the Lawn Sensei is also in the house. Thanks for coming out and hanging out. So we have a question now up from Tim Borski, and it's the age-old question. He says, "Got my core aeration done a few days ago. Good job, excellent job." He says, "Heavy-duty clay. Raking up those cores was a pain. Top dressing next week." Very good. Now, I will tell you, and I'm just going to, this is the only spoiler I'm going to tell you about the video that I'm shooting for top dressing. I core aerated the lawn. I didn't pick up a single core, not one. And I promise you guys it's going to be okay. I promise. I know you guys really think it's like a cardinal sin to not do that, pick up cores. But my lawn has been core aerated 6 years, at least once for the past 6 years. I've never picked up a single core on my lawn, and I think, maybe some people disagree, I think it looks okay. So my point is, if you were to, as long as you're mowing regularly and once a little bit of time passes and those cores dry out, they're going to break down, and you're throwing out free organic material, free fertilizer, free soil, so that's why I just don't believe in doing it. And actually, what you're going to see when you guys look at the top dressing video that will come out, I'm not sure, maybe sometime next week, is that leveling rake, it does a great job breaking up the cores to where it just kind of gets integrated. It's almost like adding a little extra material to the top dressing process. So yeah, I didn't pick up any cores, but I am not mad at anyone that wants to do that. But I'm here to tell you that I promise your grass will not die. Nothing bad will happen if you don't pick up the cores on your lawn. But that's awesome.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Ask you this, Ron. Do you break them up?
Do I break them up? Not really. So what I will do is I will, when you ask me if I break them up, like what will happen is if I did not top dress right away, I would have just mowed, I don't know, a week from now with the True Cut, and anything that was still left on the lawn, which really wouldn't be very much, that just they get pulverized. So I haven't taken my True Cut in for sharpening. So typically what I would do, my normal process is I wait until I'm done scalping, obviously, but then after I core aerate and I run the True Cut one time over the lawn to break up any small little cores that didn't just break up and dissolve on their own, that's when it goes in for sharpening. So that's how I deal with them. And literally, it's like powder. It's like they pulverize and just, it's not like you're cutting into dirt or scalping like that. Literally, they go poof when anything touches them. So Yeah, no issues. But in this case, the only thing I'm really seeing is whenever I go over the lawn now with my leveling rake is the grass clippings. In other words, when you pull a core out, there's the soil and then there's also the grass clippings on top, right? The little stand of grass that's on top there. Like the little dead grass clippings, that I'm going to see throughout the lawn, right? As I begin using the leveling rake. But whenever I do that, they literally all break up and it just all gets integrated. So especially if you're going to top dress your lawn, really no reason to do it. You're just creating extra work for yourself, in my opinion. Again, I'm only talking from what I've done. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I haven't done a full blown like aeration on my lawn like for a while. So I'm just trying to plot of how I'm going to do it.
Nice. And I will tell you guys, if you guys are going to go run an aerator, if you can get your hands on a Billy Goat aerator, go get one. This is not an endorsement for Billy Goat. They didn't pay me to say this. Like, I've used the Ryan aerators and I've used the Billy Goat, the one that we used like today, and that thing is a dream. I mean, it's still a workout, but it doesn't beat you up like the Ryan does. The Ryan is a workout, man. So if you can get your hands on a Billy Goat, use one of those. And it did a great job. It pulls some really long, deep cores out of the lawn. So it worked really, really well. So yeah, if you have a choice, you got like a Ryan sitting there and a Billy Goat when you're going to Home Depot or wherever you're gonna go get your aerator from, go for the Billy Goat. I will tell you that much. Better, easier to use. All right, so we have a question here from Elliot Anders. He says, "Hey Ron, I'm in Maryland and with 1,000 square feet, turf type tall fescue lawn. I have low pH, so I need to put down about 5 pounds of lime, but I also want to put down some humic 12, 6 ounces. Okay, I think that shouldn't be a problem. You said, I heard that humic can affect the pH in the lawn, so what order should I do this? Humic 12, then lime, another weekend, or vice versa? So as far as the effect that humic acid can have, I don't know what humic 12 does, but I know from my understanding, humic acid doesn't make a material difference, a huge difference as far as moving soil pH. So I'm not sure if there's something special in humic 12 that does, but because I've never used it, I can't give you a good answer. I mean, my suggestion would be put down the lime first, water it in heavily, and if you want to wait a week and then put down the humic 12, you can do that. But I'm not sure what there is in humic 12 that adjusts pH, if anything, because I've never actually used that product. I could tell you that if you use like the Miramichi Green, the Carbon Pro G or the Essential G, like those are pH optimizers, and that they will try and bring the pH towards the mid sixes. That's where they are their happy zone. So if you put Carbon Pro G on an alkaline soil, it's going to try and draw the soil pH, the pH down. If you're on an acidic soil, it's going to try and draw it up. So that I can speak to because that product I am familiar with. With humic 12, I am not. So I can't really give you a good answer, but it's probably going to be fine. I've never really heard of a humic product making a huge difference in soil pH, but I could be wrong on that one. Very cool. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. We also have YouTube royalty in live stream tonight. Alexander Lee hanging out. He says, yo. Alex, he just got done, I think, aerating his lawn. So the plan was to do all the aeration today and no top dressing, but we couldn't help ourselves. So tomorrow morning, bright and early, we're going to be getting up super early, finish up my back lawn, do something special that you guys have to watch the video to see, and then we're going to be doing battle with Alex's lawn, top dressing his lawn. Very cool. All right, and let's see what other questions we have here. So JR stops and he says, do you fertilize immediately after top dressing? No, I fertilize. Well, here's the thing. I will tell you the process that I use, okay? What we did today. So we core aerated the lawn, beat the lawn up really, really good, core aerated it. We put down a very heavy application of Essential G. So I literally put down like 6 bags on the back lawn. So super heavy because the lawn's opened up. It can accept a lot of nutrients, so why not? And then after that, I put down Humic Max. So we put down a at rate application of Humic Max. I put it down at 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. I put it down fairly light. So I did that. And then I top dressed. So after aerating, it's, you put down any soil improvement technologies you want to put down, any fertilizer, and then top dress on top of it. So that's how I would do that. And I didn't make that up. I stole that from like the very first time I had my lawn done. The people that did it, Sandman, like the guys that there's 2 people there are 2 major companies in the Atlanta area. There's Level Lawns and Sandman. And Richard, when those guys came out, that was their process. They aerated the lawn. Mind you, they didn't pick up cores either when they did it. They aerated the lawn, they put down a fertilizer, and they top dressed it. And then they drug it in, and there you go. So I would put down the fertilizer before top dressing and after core aeration. If you're not aerating, then simply fertilizer or anything else you want to put down, Essential G, Carbon Pro G, whatever your product of choice is, and then top dress on top of that. That would be my suggestion, JR. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. So LG's at the house. YouTube royalty, what's going on, LG? Thanks for coming to hang out. Appreciate you, sir. As always, taking time out of your Friday evening to come hang out with us. And let's see what other questions we got here. JP Show's in the house. What's going on, brothers? Had no idea this was going down tonight. Yeah, it was late. We wanted to make sure that we could work out all the technology logistics of it, and we didn't actually announce this till late last night. So that's our bad as far as not doing more to promote it. But we're glad that you came and hung out with us, JP Show. So as I look forward for the next question here, George, it's time for you to talk about it, man. I mean, you put it off long enough. We got to know. So you got rid of the Greensmaster. What's coming into the stables now? What's the replacement going to be?
All right. So I have a special package coming from the British people, man. I think you could kind of guess who it's coming from.
An Alette.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I'm grabbing an Allet. I was
okay.
going to get a Swordman, but based on a couple recommendations from some people, I heard that the Allets might be a little bit better of a fit for me. It's a little bit more of a rugged machine. And yeah, man, I got the 17H. So it's got the Honda engine. It's got a 17-inch width on it.
Okay.
So I'm super excited to use it. And the reason why is because I've been using a Toro Greensmaster on my front lawn. And let me tell you, I mean, I know you have a Greensmaster, but you got that big piece of property over there, man. And you got room to turn it around and, be graceful with it. With me, by the time I engage the drive on the Greensmaster, the pass is already done.
You got to pull it off. So it's like on, off.
Yeah, exactly. It just got a little bit too much for me. So I downgraded my equipment a little bit, and I got a 17-inch Allet. It only weighs about, I think, 100 pounds, something like that.
Nice.
And it's supposed to be very easy to maneuver, and I can't wait to use it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a good cutting mower. I mean, I've looked at, I follow Super TA on Instagram. And I think he got one, and his lawn, his turf is looking really good. So, and that's the big thing. For your lawn, you have a smaller front lawn. It's a better fit, right? It's a mower that it makes it fun, I imagine, right? Because if you have to go out there and drag out the battle cruiser, the tank, the Greensmaster, and it's a heavy mower. It's like I always say with the greens mowers, right? With both I have not used a John Deere, but with the Toro, it's an event. Like the True Cut, literally, you fire it up, you go out, you mow, you're done, right? With the Greensmaster, it's an event. You have to, you take it out, you start it up, you take the drive, you take it out, set it up, you take off the drive wheels. If you're really hardcore, you take the axles off. Then you do your mow. You rinse the mower off. You put the axles back on. You put the drive wheels back on, and you put your mower up. So there's more that goes into it. So there is something to be said for just easy, right? Just take it out, start it up, and get your cut done, and you're done, right? I can see that, George. So cool. Definitely for content on that.
Yeah, and the Greensmaster, it was fun for about a year, but then it got a little old, and I'm getting a little old, not kicking as good as I used to.
I got you.
But yeah, so I can't wait to get that Allet and just be using it. Hopefully it'll even motivate me to go out there and mow my lawn every day like you, man. I know you've been mowing every day, right?
Yeah, so I've been doing an experiment. So after I got the 11 blade reel back, I've mowed every day. Except for one day when it was raining. It was like a monsoon, so I couldn't mow. But I've mowed 22 days in a row. 22 days like as -1. All right, because I just wanted to see. I always tell people mowing, like mow your lawn. It makes that's the best thing you can do for your lawn. And I said, what? I mow my lawn 3 times a week. It looks pretty good. What happens if I mow every single day? And let's just actually stretch it out and see how good of a difference it makes. And it looks incredible. Like once per literally 3 times a week is good. Every day is really good. The only negative I would say to mowing every single day, other than the time commitment for it, is that you are putting more wear on the turf, right? So I was mowing early in the morning, and the ground is a little softer, it's not quite as hot. So as far as like your ability to begin putting ruts in the lawn, the Greensmaster is really good in the sense that the weight is relatively even, but the ends of the roller, like where the mounting points are, there's no grooves there. And after a while, when I got, I started noticing in some areas, I could see, like when I was making a pass, like a very slight bend where the end of the front roller was running. So the one negative I'd say to mowing every day is you are putting a lot more wear on the turf. And, honestly, it looks better. It does look better, but it's like you're definitely at the point of diminishing return. So what I would suggest people is if you really want to be crazy, is save that for special events. So like if you have somebody coming over the 4th of July, 4 days prior to when they're coming over, mow every day. And the lawn, after about 4 days, the lawn is going to look beautiful. And you're not going to be hating life because you're doing it all the time. Like 4 days is when you kind of reach that point where the lawn is going to look its absolute best. And that's when you can, that if you want to do it, that's how long I would do it for, leading up to something where you want the lawn to look its best. So very cool.
Real quick, I want to address a comment by John D. He said he's iffy about the outlet. He read some negative things on the lawn forum. If you're still here, John D., I'm also a little bit iffy about it. I'm not 100%. I mean, I had a British car, and let's just say it wasn't the most reliable car I ever had. I don't have it anymore. But long story short, I paid for my outlet. It's not sponsored, anything like that. So, if you want to come on the journey with me and see if it's legit or not, just stop by my channel and you'll see me using it, and I'll definitely document my process. But just like you, I'm still iffy even right now after dropping all that money. So we'll see in due time.
Time will tell. It always does, right?
Yeah.
All right. So JP, on the subject of mowers, JP Show Pro says, hey, week 1 with the John Deere 220 cutting at 3/4 of an inch. Awesome. Great height. I always say 3/4 of an inch is the correct height to not have real mowing mess up your life. That's like the best, that's the sweet spot. Thanks to both of you for all your tips and the Q&A. How often do you guys grease the reel mowers? Every cut? For me, I hit the Zerg fittings once a month, and I don't, outside of that, I don't do any lubrication to the mower. I don't do anything outside of cleaning it off and making sure it's all fresh to go. I don't do anything after every single time. It sounds like George does something a little bit more regularly than I do, but for me, it's a once a month thing. But great question, and congratulations on the John Deere 220. Very cool. All right. Next up, we got Maurice Anderson in the house. He says, happy Friday, everyone. When top dressing, should we put down a heavy NPK like 4600, Zoysia, and Smyrna? No, definitely not 4600. Not that much. You don't want to hit your arm with that much nitrogen. If anything, here's the thing, guys. You strictly, to be completely honest, you don't have to put down a fertilizer when you're top dressing. And if you are going to do that, I would go with something that's relatively light, like a starter fert, like a 12 is fine. If you're using the Humic Max, that's an excellent choice too, because at 1608, you're not going to be hitting the lawn with too much nitrogen. It also has that 9% humic acid in it, so you're also feeding the soil. So that's a great product. That's it's like a combination product that would work really well whenever you are looking to top dress. But I wouldn't go with 4600. That's a lot of nitrogen. Frankly, the biggest thing that's going to help your lawn recover from top dressing is heat. You have Zoysia. Zoysia is a little bit slower growing, but like Bermuda, once the heat arrives, it's gonna push right through. It's gonna be happy. It's gonna recover, right? So the nitrogen helps some, but really the big thing is just heat. So for me, the 12 is really great, or the Humic Max, you can get both of those on the golf course lawn store. Both those are carried there. So if you are interested, you can get them there. That is what I would use.
So, Ron, I'm actually not a pro when it comes to warm season grass. So can you tell me, is right now the best time to level warm season grass?
Not necessarily. It depends. It depends, right? So in Georgia, you can absolutely do it now. If I had to say the best time to level warm season grass in Georgia is really probably late May, June-ish, right? Because we're going to have a lot of heat then, and the lawns are going to recover faster. Kind of like with aerating. And again, we're talking about Bermuda here, right? With which you can get away with a lot of things with Bermuda that you can't necessarily do on other grass types. The thing is that you're giving up when you aerate early is how long it takes for the lawn to recover, right? So, we're starting to get warmer temperatures. We're getting some days in the 80s now here in Georgia. So my lawn should bounce back pretty quickly. But like literally, if you guys watch the videos from last year, like out the Fix My Lovely Lawn series and also some of the other top dressing stuff, literally I top dressed my lawn, and the next week I was able to start mowing again. And the big contributor for that was heat, right? It's just the fact that there's plenty of heat, and Bermuda's like sunlight and heat. I'm good to go, baby. Let's rock, right? So now top dressing really the last couple days of April into early May. If the heat holds out, I expect that within a couple of weeks, the lawn should be recovering and I should be able to start mowing again. So the biggest thing from top dressing early is you're gonna have a slower recovery. But the nice thing about top dressing early is you're done, right? So now at this point, all you have to do is just enjoy the lawn the rest of the season. Just mow it, spray your plant. You put your plant growth regulator on it. You spray the carbon kit. So use the Release Zero, the Biospectrum, NutriKelp, and just spoon feed the lawn and enjoy it. Just have fun with it, right? So that's the benefit of doing it early. If you are fine with the lawn taking a little bit longer than it would if you waited till say June to top dress it. Good question.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for answering that.
Yeah, no problem at all.
I had so many of those questions, and I just felt so out of the loop, man.
So there you go. You can feel free to answer questions. So you see, you're right here, so you can definitely you can like jump to the front of the line, right? So yeah, Ron, Tiffany, if it's greening up, that site growth should be fine. You should go ahead and put it down. I mean, there shouldn't be any negative to doing that. If the lawn is greening up, meaning it's starting to actively grow, you should be good to go. All right, Kevin Sheehan saying, better late than never. Hello, boys. Hello, Kevin. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Always in the comment section. I always appreciate you watching the videos and taking the time to comment on the videos. So I appreciate you also coming into the live stream. So thanks so much for that. I really appreciate it. All right. And then Tim Borsey saying, my neighbor mows once a month, if that, LOL. I've sprayed the weeds for them a few times. I just don't care. Yeah, that's a big thing. I always say if I could bottle mowing, I'd be a very, very rich man. Because, the big thing, the biggest difference between a lawn that looks good and a lawn that does not look good, in most cases, assuming same neighborhood and everything else, same type of grass, most times it comes down to mowing, to be completely honest. Once if the soil is somewhat decent, you're putting down a decent fertilizer on it, it really comes down to mowing. I stopped using my lawn as an example because people say, oh, your lawn is babied and you got Arden 15 in it, so of course your lawn's going to green up sooner. But literally, Alex's lawn, which is right next door to me, and the neighbors also in this area also have Tifway 419, and his lawn looks incredible. If you look at it now, it looks gorgeous. And the biggest difference between his lawn and the other lawns in the neighborhood, the biggest difference is mowing frequency, right? So I'm not surprised you're dealing with a lot of weeds, Tim. It's good that you're helping them out and you're spraying for them. But yeah, if I could give anyone a piece of advice, just mow a lot. That's been the best things you can do for your lawn. All right. John Williams says, can you talk a little bit about Zoysia grass? Is it better than St. Aug for shaded areas? So I don't. Here's the thing. I don't have a Zoysia lawn or a St. Augustine lawn. Zoysia is often billed as being more shade tolerant than Bermuda, but it still needs sunlight. So it's not like you can put Zoysia in a part of your lawn where you're getting 2 hours of sunlight and expect it to do well. I think the same thing is true for St. Augustine too. It also likes a fair amount of sunlight. Probably not as strict on sunlight as Bermuda. Bermuda, you start taking sun away from Bermuda, that is literally the kryptonite, right? But Zoysia and St. Aug probably do a little bit better with shade than Bermuda do. So great question, John. Hopefully that helps. I'm not mowed along with either of those grass types on a regular basis to tell you exactly how they perform. But per Google and what other experts will say, they'll say that Zoysia and St. Aug have better shade tolerance than Bermuda for sure. Very, very cool. Let's see what else we have here. Bram Montana says, I'm trying to burn through some questions. I know I'm behind, guys. I apologize for that. He says, I live in central North Carolina. We had less than half an inch of rain in April. I can't irrigate everything. How crazy would that drive you knowing that you love growth? So here's the thing. You don't really need that much watering, man. I'm not sure what kind of grass you have, Bram. You didn't say, but let's say I'm assuming you have Bermuda. Even though you got only a little bit of rain in April, you really shouldn't have to run irrigation that much. Bermuda really doesn't need that much water to be happy. Honestly, you will cause more problems in Bermuda with too much water than you will by not putting enough water on it, if that helps. So yeah, no, it's, in other words, water is not the thing that drives massive amounts of growth. It's really heat. From Bermuda anyways, heat. Heat and sunlight are the big things. What about you, George? So as far as KBG, I saw you have a tree in your front lawn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how does your the grass you're using in your front lawn, how does it do once we're in full spring, summertime, it's growing? Is it fairly shade tolerant, or what happens with it whenever that tree begins to bloom and you got a shadow on the lawn?
Well, this is actually going to be my first season that I have the lawn full blown. Okay, so we're gonna find out. I can't really say for sure right now. The cultivar that I chose of Kentucky bluegrass is actually fairly shade tolerant, but not really. I mean, it's a little bit better than the average. But addressing Bram Montana, he said he's in North Carolina. I don't know if he has Bermuda. He might have turf type tall fescue over there, possibly. And I think a half an inch of rain in April would be enough for turf type tall fescue because it doesn't require so much water. Like say as my KVG, which usually takes about 1 inch to 2 inches of water a week.
Yeah, and it's not thing is it's not really that hot this time of year, right? So that's the big thing. You know, you're not losing a lot of water from evaporation. So I wouldn't think that you need a ton of water at this point. All right.
Yeah.
So Rene Ruiz has a question about weed and feed. He says, it says, hey, for a beginner, what is a weed and feed bag from Ace Hardware, Lowe's, etc.? Is it better than nothing or stay away from it? Thanks. Great question. So weed and feed is it's gonna be a fertilizer, so something to help the grass grow, and it's also gonna have a herbicide of some sort in it to kill weeds. So, I mean, I know weed and feed gets a really bad rap. If it were me and you were like trying to get your lawn like in order. So you're like, perfect example, you're a beginner, right? You want to get your lawn going. You want to start getting some growth, and you also want to knock back the existing weeds. And the most important thing, Renee, is you're committing to increasing your mowing frequency, right? Like you're saying, hey, I just need some help getting the weeds knocked back, and I'm gonna start mowing a lot more. There's nothing wrong with weed and feed, right? I mean, at the beginning of a season, it's not a bad choice. I would not put it on your lawn every month, meaning I would not use that to feed your lawn every month, because then you're needlessly putting herbicides on your lawn regularly all the time. And I'm not a huge fan of that. But to start out the season, there's not really a huge issue in it. And as far as the what's in it, it depends. Different ones have different post-emergent herbicides, but the big thing to think about is it's got a fertilizer, something to help the grass grow, and a herbicide, something to kill the weeds, right? And this time of year, when you are the warm season weeds are starting to come up, and you say you're going to pick up your mowing frequency to kind of keep them at bay from using like just your cultural practices. Starting out with a weed and feed is not necessarily bad, but you just don't want to do that every single month. Every month, weed and feed is not the answer, if that helps. Right?
Yeah, I know specifically the Scott's weed and feed contains 2,4-D. So if your primary kind of weeds that you have are like broadleaf weeds, like they look like leafy type weeds, then the weed and feed will actually do a surprisingly good job with it. But if you have more like grassy weeds in your lawn, then it might not do as good of a job with it. The only thing that I'm a little skeptical about weed and feed I mean, I know it works. I've used it. But I just don't like, they tell you to water the lawn lightly beforehand, and then you broadcast it around. It sticks on the leaves of the plant. And I'm just wondering, like, if there's like nitrogen in it, plus
you could burn the grass.
In it.
Yeah.
So there's like a really thin line of using weed and feed effectively and like just burning your lawn. So you just got to be real careful. Make sure you follow the bag 100%. If it tells you to water first, make sure you water first, then apply. And then if it tells you to wash it off after like an hour, make sure you do that, because having that nitrogen fertilizer stick on the plants, it can do harm to your lawn. So
it definitely can damage it. Yeah, great points. That's all great feedback, George. And Brooklyn Boy, they're giving you a shout out. He says, Princess Cut Lawns is blowing up 10K subs by Memorial Day. Actually, we do need to clap it up, because George, you have been blowing up here on YouTube, bro. I mean, you've got the content you've been putting out, man, has been seeing a lot of response. And congratulations. It's really, really, really good. You got a lot of videos that are getting a lot of response, and rightfully so. Your content's really good, and I'm really excited to see where your growth goes. So congratulations. All the hard work is definitely paying off. So keep it up, man. Keep going.
Hey, I appreciate that, Ron. You've been a good friend of mine for a while now, and you taught me a lot of things too, man. So don't think that doesn't go unnoticed.
No. I mean, remember, whenever you are big, like the big YouTuber, don't forget the little people. Don't forget where you came from. Now, just make sure. I'll remind you. So,
hey, you're one of the homies, Ron. I can't forget about you.
All right. Well, congratulations. Congrats on all the growth. All right. So next question we have here is from Clayton Wilson. He says, my neighbor's asking about the difference in my lawn this evening. I shared the love with him. Also turned him on to Carbon Pro G I was putting down. That's awesome, Clayton. Yeah, really, really good. Carbon Pro G is good stuff. The thing is, you have to believe when you put down Carbon Pro G, because there's no nitrogen in it, right? So it's not like you put it down and you're going to immediately see the lawn turn green. But it is literally one of the best products you can apply to your lawn. It's awesome, awesome stuff. And because it has no NPK, literally the real limit of how much of it you apply is your budget, right? And I can tell you, I've had awesome results with it. Alex has had awesome results with it. And it's a great product. And it's good on you for sharing that with your neighbor. Very cool. All right, Lawn to Learn. Lawn to Learn is always like one of the people that is like, I swear he must just hang out on YouTube all the time, because he's always like one of the first people to comment on videos when I release them. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday, buddy. Thank you. Thanks, Lawn to Learn. Happy Friday. He says, let's talk about resetting height of cut. I'm mowing my Bermuda at 1 inch. Some spots are leggy. Would this be the main reason for one would do a height of cut reset? Sure. So if at one, I guess, how do we get to 1 inch, Lon, to learn? Were you always at 1 inch, and even like say over the dormancy period, over the summer or over the winter, and you never really scalped or did any kind of a height of cut reset? If so, then yeah, you probably could benefit from it, especially now since we're starting to get some heat. Like the Bermuda is going to come back really nicely. So if you are seeing, parts of your lawn that are a little bit leggy, that are kind of spotty, here's the thing. There's 2 things you need to consider. It can a height of cut reset help with that? Yes, it can. But also remember, the heat hasn't really arrived yet. If we were having this conversation a month from now, then I'd say, yeah, absolutely. Let's get a height of cut reset done. Let's really get the grass, get rid of all that dead material, get the grass going. But it's only now that we're really starting to get consistent heat in the southeast, and Bermuda really needs that to do well. So. If you want to cut it back a little bit, take it down to 3/4 of an inch and let it grow back to that inch, no problem. But I'd say, also a little bit of patience. A couple of weeks from now, if the heat holds out, your lawn should be looking a lot better. So, great question. Great question. Let's see what else we got going on here. So Andrew Winkleman has a question about Arden 15. He says, "Hey Ron, are you going to put down any post-emergent with Arden 15? I am seeding in 2 weeks and do not want an IR-like process for weeds during seed germination. Prefer active defense." Okay, so here's the thing. I did not put down any pre-emergent this year, and I am not going to be putting down any post-emergent after applying, if I were to seed with Arden 15 this year. We'll see if I do or not. You have to wait and see. If I were to do that, I can tell you that I'm not putting down any post-emergent. I don't see a huge problem. For me, it's not a trial to go out and pick out a few weeds that come up here out of my lawn. Like, I don't have a ton of them, and I just don't want to do anything that could negatively affect how well Arden 15 performs, right? Like if I took all the time into preparing the soil, preparing the lawn, putting out the seed, basically committing to a really, really expensive water bill for, over the course of the month, when this happens, there's no way I'm putting post-emergent herbicides on my lawn. When the lawn spots up, the little Bermuda comes in, he's not healthy yet. They're still trying to find their way in the world. And the last thing we need to do is smack them with herbicide. So for me, and some people will tell you you can do it. For me, I'm not taking that chance. I'm not using any herbicides on my lawn. Go ahead,
Ron,
George.
how long would you wait to apply a post-emergent to newly seeded grass? Because right now I'm in the spring after my fall lawn renovation. I didn't put any pre-emergent down, and the weeds are heavy right now, and I'm this close to going out there and smacking it with some speed zone or something.
So I would say in your case, when the lawn is fully out of dormancy, I would not hit it with speed zone right now when the lawn is still not come out of dormancy yet. When your KBG is kicking and alive, it's looking good, and if you want to go ahead and do a speed zone app, then sure, go for it, right? Because if you were to do that now, you could delay the green up. Like you could stunt the green up that you get for your KBG. Let's say we're putting down Arden 15 today, right? Let's just say, just hypothetically speaking, right? And I got good germination by the end of May. I'd say June, July, I'd say early August is probably the soonest I would put any kind of post-emergent down on my lawn. I just literally, here's the thing. Like I want the seeding project to go so well, I'm willing to almost give up having everything pristine this season just to allow the Arden 15 have its best chance to get established, because it's that important to me. Kind of like with you did your seeding project last year. You didn't put down any pre-emergent. You probably could have gotten away with it, maybe, right? But you didn't want to take that chance because you put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort into getting your grass to where it is. So yes, you're dealing with weeds now, but you're going to be able to take care of them, in a month or two, and it's going to be fine. In other words, you have to kind of pick your poison. You have to pick what's really important to you, what your priority is. And if your priority is getting good germination with Bermuda grass seed, which again is already hard mode. Like if you're seeding Bermuda, you're already, many people will tell you you're doing it wrong, right? Because it's very difficult to get Bermuda to established from seed. It takes a lot of water to do it. And if you're going to go through all that effort, I wouldn't do anything that can negatively affect your chances for success. That's my take on that, Andrew. But again, you can do what you want to do, but that's my feeling and the reasoning behind it. All right. Let's see. You said you've read mixed reviews about recommendations around applying tenacity with Bermuda Seed, but seems to be multiple viewpoints. I wouldn't. If you want my opinion, you're asking me, Ron, should I apply tenacity to my lawn because I'm seeding Bermuda? No, I wouldn't. I would not do that. I wouldn't. Let's see. What other questions we've got going on here? Let's see. So Jay King says, I ordered a soil test kit from your site. I appreciate that, Jay. Thank you so much, sir. He says, I have major leveling issues and may need to bring in fill dirt prior to sodding. Should I hold off on the soil test? No, not really, because again, you're going to bring in fill dirt, but I mean, you're not like you're going to be putting down like, I don't know, 3 inches of dirt on the entire lawn, right? So the current soil is the current soil, and yes, the soil you're bringing in will have a different makeup and have some differences to it, but I would still get what you have now tested and begin amending it, start making improvements to any deficiencies that are in it. And it's going to make any fill dirt you bring in just perform that much better. Like, in other words, like bringing in fill dirt is not going to make like really bad soil a lot better on its own. So I would correct the issues in your existing soil, assuming there are any. Your soil might be great, right? And you may have to do nothing. But that's would be my approach, Jay. Very, very cool. Let's see what other questions we got going on here. So people talking about this Japanese silk grass. That's a beautiful thing about the comment section, man. You guys are in here and you guys are like doing all kinds of help to the viewers. Again, that's not really a area of expertise. Again, I don't really do cool season grass, and I definitely don't want to recommend herbicides for cool season grass. I don't want to be responsible for damaging someone's lawn. But it's glad that you guys are helping out. All right. And then Hemi WK says, love the cool season talk this week. Really appreciate both of you investing in this one. So that's a good question. So let's talk about the cool season grass, George. So for you, we know the KBG is not out of dormancy yet. What is your fertilization plan? What's your feeding plan going to look like this year? Have you thought about it as yet?
Yeah, so I actually just got my soil test results back, and I'm slightly low in phosphorus and slightly low in potassium, and my nitrogen's pretty optimal. So with this season, I'm just gonna be applying a starter fertilizer coming up here pretty soon.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw down about a pound of phosphorus with that. And then as far as the nitrogen goes, I've been throwing down some of that flagship fertilizer. I haven't seen any response yet, because the lawn's just not growing yet. It's still cold outside. But as soon as we do, I have a feeling like it's going to take off really hard. So with this season, I'm just focusing on nitrogen, and I'm focusing on all three, actually. I'm kind of low on all three.
Well, that makes it easier, right? You can do like a starter if you want. You don't have to go out and find some special formulation. So, and I think I've not used the flagship, but some people have been using it and they've gotten really good results with it. So I think, to your point, once the grass really starts greening up where it can take advantage of, the feeding you're giving it, I think you're going to get really good results with it. So,
not to mention that fertilizer has biosolids in it, which usually start to kick in when it starts to get warmer outside.
Right.
But what I do like about the flagship is not only does it have the nitrogen, it has a pretty good amount of potassium in there. So
nice.
That's gonna provide a good feeding too. How about you? Have you thrown down any fert yet?
I have. So yeah, so I did my Humic Max application this month, and then I've already started my spoon feeding program, right? So literally half a pound. You guys have seen it. I've got a video explaining how it works, the products I'm using, rates, all this stuff. But in a nutshell, it's half a pound of nitrogen from the granular, just under half a pound from the Humic Max, and then I'm spoon feeding.
So there's NPK in the Humic Max?
It's just nitrogen and potassium. So it's 16% nitrogen. 8% potassium, no phosphorus. I've got plenty of phosphorus in my lawn, so I don't add that unless there's actually need for it. Or if I were seeding, that might be a situation where I might add a little bit of phosphorus. But as a matter of like regularly adding, like feeding my lawn, I don't use fertilizer with phosphorus in it because I don't really need it, right? But yeah, the Humic Max is what I'm gonna be using, and then I'm spraying the Turfplex, this stuff from Ecologel. The 22.3 at the absolute lowest rate. I'm putting down about just right at 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen with that, coupled with the carbon kit from Miramichi Green. And yeah, the lawn's looking, you guys have seen the pictures, the lawn's looking really, really solid. It's never looked this good at this time of year. And I credit definitely the Miramichi Green products, all the stuff I've been doing to soil, and then also the spoon feeding program. It's more work, but grass looks awesome. So yeah,
when you apply that 20% liquid nitrogen, do you the liquid one? Do you water it in, or do you?
I don't.
Obviously, right?
No, no, I don't. No, because so yeah, so it's uptake, it's foliar uptake, and I use that's why I went into my video. I keep saying, do not put it down heavy. You literally, it's a very, very light rate. It doesn't take very much. Again, it's 20% nitrogen in this product, and I'm putting down. They say 6 ounces is about a tenth. I put down like 6 ounces, maybe sometimes a little bit less than that, and I get a really good response from the grass. I don't get too much growth. It just overall just works really, really well. So the big thing is follow the label. I will tell you that a tenth of a pound of nitrogen every couple of weeks for that product works great. Works awesome on your lawn. You do not need to put more than that down. I don't need to water it in, and especially if you're combining it with Release Zero, which is in the carbon kit. The uptake, it's again, Release Zero it acts as a catalyst. So if you are mixing anything else with it, so PGR, liquid herbicides, liquid fertilizer, it helps with uptake. So really, you can even get by with running a little bit lower than rate, and you're still going to get a really good response. I've tested that for my last application here. I went actually down to 4 ounces per 1,000, and the grass still looks great. So I might start doing that. We'll see. All right, so we got other questions here. So Alan Kripes is saying, thanks for providing the support. Really helpful information to us new lawn fanatics. You're very welcome, sir. I got a super chat here from Skilled Musician. Thanks so much, sir.
Super chat received.
He says, thanks for answering my questions. I really appreciate your channel and your willingness to share. No problem, sir. No problem. That's what we're here for. We're all here to help each other out, right? So thank you so much for watching. And I appreciate it. And I actually checked out your channel. Dude, you can play, man. I listened to some of he's like a pianist. He plays piano, and it's fun watching someone that is so good at piano that they can like play around with the song while they're playing it and like just add things to it, take things out of it. And you can tell when you're watching someone that's just really good at what they do. And if you like piano music, if you like all different types of styles, check out Skilled Musician. He's got really, really good stuff going on his channel. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Ribido says, great show. I'm in Central Florida with Tip Tough Bermuda. I have an area under a tree that's slow to fill in. Should I keep it at 1/2 inch or let it grow more? So the area that's slow to fill in is probably due to shade, Ribido. So if we can do something to try and reduce that, that will help. Where we get a little bit more heat, it might fill in then. But I can tell you that the shade is literally, like there's one thing, like Bermuda will grow in sand. Like it'll grow in anything. It'll grow in like cracks of concrete. Like Bermuda has very low standards for what it grows in. I mean, if you feed it really good stuff, it does amazing, right? But it will grow in pretty much anything. The one thing it will not tolerate is lack of sunlight. Even like sunlight passing through a tree is enough to cause the grass to be thin. So I haven't seen the pictures of what you're dealing with, but I mean, if there's anything you can do to maybe raise the canopy up a little bit to where the more direct sunlight hits the grass, that could be good. Again, we're still early in the season, so maybe as temps get a little higher, it might fill in, but the fact that you're under a tree, like the grass is doing exactly what it should be doing. It should be thinner. It should be slower to fill in because it's not getting as much direct sunlight. So you're not doing anything wrong. We'll wait and see when the days get longer. And if you can thin out that tree canopy a little bit, that might help some. Great question. So Skill Musician says, hey, Ron, 2 quick questions. Okay. He says, I have common Bermuda grass lawn that is 80% weeds right now. Okay. I was thinking about overseeding with Arden 15 after to get the lawn healthy. Good idea. Not necessarily, because here's the thing. So Arden 15, when it's mixed with Tifway, like the two look really nice together. Like texture-wise, they look good, and the growth, like the rate of growth, is very similar. So other than the color, when you look at a Tifway 419 lawn that's got Arden 15 in it, like the grasses look like the same. It looks like one grass type for the most part, right? It doesn't look too weird. Common Bermuda looks very different to like a Tifway. And Arden 15, again, it's not technically a hybrid, but it looks more like a hybrid than it does a common Bermuda. So I would probably not do that. I'd recommend against that. I've never done it to know how well the Arden 15 would look with your common Bermuda, but I would be leery about doing that. Here's the thing, man. The big thing we got through is you said you got 80% weeds right now, right? And I will tell you that overseeding your lawn is not it's not the alpha and omega. It's not the answer to every problem in your lawn. Actually, it's probably one of the worst ways to fix problems in your lawn. The best thing I would say is, I think you're in Georgia, I believe so. So once the Bermuda's greened up, it's growing. I know you mainly got weeds. let's do something like Spectracide. Spectracide would be a great option. Something like that will blanket spray the entire lawn, knock the weeds back, and then when you start mowing, if you have like a regular rotary mower, the first time, maybe the first 2 times, bag all your clippings to kind of get the weeds and the trash out of the lawn, and then just start mowing it. The lower you can mow it and the more regularly you can mow it, you're going to start making life harder for the weeds, and you're going to make life better for the Bermuda, because Bermuda likes to be short. If you can get Bermuda at 1.5 inches or lower, even that common, which again, I know right now doesn't look that great, it will thicken up. It will thicken up. It is going to look better, and it's going to lay the smack down on those weeds when they try and come back in. So I would not go with Arden 15 if you're going to be mixing it with common. I would first, let's work on eliminating the 80% weed problem, which we're going to be able to do. Spectracide would probably help pretty well with that, and then let's pick up our mowing to get the Bermuda to begin to fill in well. That is how I would approach that. So hopefully that helps. But I don't want you to go out and do something that I think you're going to regret, and that may not necessarily, it's unlikely to fix the problem, because we got to get rid of those weeds, and a big way to fix that is to spray them out and then pick up your mowing. That would be the way to do it. And then secondly, you said, my backyard is basically weeds and shady, and Bermuda grass is struggling to grow. I want to seed Zoysia. Do you know any Zoysia seeds behind Zenith? Okay, again, if I were going to do Zoysia, I would establish it from sod. I don't know how much shade you're dealing with, but let's just say in a perfect world that you've got not too much shade such that Zoysia won't grow, right? Like the amount of shade you got, Zoysia will get along fine with that. Like it is way, way, way easier, like several orders of magnitude easier to get Zoysia to establish from sod than it is from seed. Like for one, it takes a ton of water, just like Bermuda, to get it to germinate and to grow in nicely. And then the areas that are shaded are going to be thinner. They're going to grow in slower than the areas that are getting a lot of sunlight. So for me, if I were recommending something for your back lawn, I would say sodded if at all possible. If you're going to go with Zoysia, put down Zoysia sod instead of seed. I think you're gonna like the results you get with that better. And I think your chances of success are going to be higher with doing sod. Great question. Appreciate it. And we got Brett Grasspaid in the live stream. What's going on, Brett? Thanks for coming to hang out. Got to clap it up for that. Always like to see that. I don't know why everyone's giving Brett such a hard time. Brett's good people, man. I mean, think about it. Like as far as like breaking the axles loose on a greensmaster, like Brett's the guy that did the video on that, man. That wasn't an easy video to make, So, he's a wealth of knowledge on like real mowing. So you guys leave Brett alone, man. Leave Brett alone.
Hey, I do have something to say about that video though.
Okay,
after I watched
here we go.
I went out and bought. I went out and bought the 1-inch wrench. And actually it didn't end up working on my Greensmaster because mine is was an ancient dinosaur from the 80s.
Okay.
And it didn't have the 1-inch wrench fitting on it, so I wasn't even able to take the axles off. Otherwise, I would.
Okay. Wow, I didn't realize that. I guess so it's something they added to the newer mowers then.
Yeah, cool. So if you have one of the ancient 5201 or 4501s, then it won't work with that wrench. So just warning to anyone else.
Okay, cool. All right, Windshare has a question. It says, hey, Ron, have you ever tried tackifier like Pennington Slope Master for seeding on your slope? I don't know what that is, so no, I've never tried it, Wind Chariot. What I tend to do, and it's kind of a hack, it's not, I don't even know that it's strictly necessary, is whenever I have put seed down, I've mixed it with play sand. I will mix the seed and sand to kind of thicken it up, give it a little bit more body. That's the only thing I've done, and on the front lawn, it's actually worked fairly well. I haven't had the need to add anything else special to make that work. But no, so I've not done that. We got a question here for George though, from Hemi WK. Says, George, have you tried any warm season turf in a small section out there? I'm in zone 5A, but would like to see basic putting green with Bermuda bent grass. What say you, George?
Yeah, so I've never personally tried warm season grass because it gets kind of way too cold up here. But what I can tell you is I'm in Chicago, and the University of Illinois, which is south of us a couple hours, their sports fields are 100% Bermuda, and apparently they don't have, they don't have too many issues with it. But what I've learned recently from some of my friends that live down in St. Louis, the temperature difference from St. Louis to Chicago is pretty massive because my friend down in St. Louis has been mowing for like a month already.
Right.
And hardly getting there myself. And it's like not that much of a difference. So I would say we're a little bit too north for any kind of like grass. But if you do take a look at Jason Cyberlick's channel, he's up in Wisconsin and he has straight bent grass on his putting greens. So, and he bought that bent grass from Amazon actually for like $9 a bag.
Wow.
And it's filling in. You know, it takes time for the bent grass to fill in. Like it might take a season or two, but it's getting there and it looks pretty decent. So, I would probably just do like a straight bent grass if you're gonna go for the putting green.
So at a minimum, if you do go with a warm season, you are going to get a shorter season, like compared to what we get in the Southeast. So that's something you have to be considerate of if you do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so let's see. Wise Guy's chiming in. And Wise Guy, I think I answered your question. I got your email, and I did go and find the email that you sent to me, and I responded to that right before the live stream. So I think we're good. If not, let me know, and I'll reach back out to you. He says he's been leaving his cores for years after aeration. My lawn never was affected. Yeah, so it's not. It's not really. Here's the thing. What I could see. I could see that if you aerated your lawn, and let's say you had like super heavy clay, and you're a person that you never mow your lawn, right? And you allow the cores to sit there, and maybe they got. And I'm trying to like think of a situation where it would actually damage the lawn. And they sat there for a long time and like they created like a patty and maybe, it just stayed there. Maybe that could block out sunlight on that part of the grass and maybe kill it. But that's kind of, like if you are aerating your lawn, you're someone that probably cares about your grass. Meaning you're going to be out there mowing it. You're going to be doing the cores are not going to last. They're not going to stick around. If you are out there, mowing a couple times a week. So yeah, I'm with you, Wise Guy. I've never done it, and my lawn has been fine. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. So Tim says my soil was super clay and very compacted. First time core aerating is why I did it. They dried and are literally like concrete plugs now. Cool. Wow, that's interesting, Tim. Yeah, because my lawn, I guess my soil is probably a little bit more sandy. It used to be like really heavy clay, but it's been top dressed so much that actually what comes out now is a lot of sand. But even when it was really clay, again, I have never picked up a single core on my lawn ever. Like Alex's lawn has never picked up a single core on his lawn. So I guess it just depends. I guess in some scenarios it could cause problems. But in most cases, at least on my lawn, I've not seen it to be necessary to pick up cores. But I'm not gonna hate you either way. You can do whatever makes you most comfortable. It is your lawn. All right. See what other questions we got here. Elevated Landscape says, what's up, Ron and George? What's going on?
What's up, Cam? Shout out to you, buddy. Your channel's blowing up this month, man. I see all the progress you're doing, man. Thanks for stopping by. Nice.
Very, very cool. And so JR1000 says, fertilize after top dressing or nah? I think we already answered that, JR. You want to fertilize, I would fertilize before top dressing. So if you are aerating, aerate, fertilize, top dress. If you're not aerating, just fertilize and then top dress, and you'll be good to go. That is how I would do it. That is how the pros that I've seen do like aerating lawns for a living or top dressing lawns for a living. That's how they do it, and it just makes sense to me, right? You're putting the fertilizer like closer to the soil. Literally, it would not make sense to like put the new soil down, like the sand and soil mix, and then put fertilizer on top of that has to now work down through the stuff you just put down to begin working. So like fast track it, lay down the fertilizer, do your top dressing mix, and now it's already kind of got a layer of growing material on top of it. So that's what I would do.
Hey Ron, if I remember correctly, you said you like to apply 12, 12, 12 when you level.
I have in the past. This year, I'm just using Humic Max. If I were going to apply something balanced, I would use like a triple 12, right? If you're going to use anything, triple 12 is fine. If you don't really need phosphorus in your lawn, you can use whatever fertilizer your soil test results tell you that your lawn needs. It's real. The big thing is nitrogen, right? It's just putting a little bit of nitrogen down to kind of help boost that little bit of top growth and get the grass pushing through a little sooner. That's the big thing. All right. Let's see what's got going on here. Anthony D says, can you overseed Arden 15 over St. Aug? Absolutely. The answer is an unequivocal no, I would not do that. You're going to create a mess. Because here's why, Anthony. You're dealing with two grass types that either they're both warm season, they have very, very different growth characteristics, right? And how they like to be mowed. Like St. Aug likes to be, I think Alan will tell you 4 inches taller, 4 inches, 5 inches. Like the taller you mow it, the better. And Bermuda does not like that. Bermuda likes to be mowed really short. So let's say you could overseed with Ardent 15 and you could get it to germinate and you did get it to grow, right? Like let's say that the St. Augustine wasn't crowding it out. Like you get the ardent to grow. What's going to be the problem is going to be that neither grass type, really the Bermuda is not going to look very good because it's going to be mowed way too tall, right? And if you mow the Bermuda where it's supposed to be mowed, the St. Augustine is going to be hating life. So you kind of got to pick. It's either going to be a St. Augustine lawn or a Bermuda lawn. And if you want to get rid of the St. Aug, you spray it out, do the full renovation, and then put down Arden 15. If you really want to do that, or just sod. Sod would probably be easier, to be completely honest, if you just want to go to Bermuda. But no, I would not under no circumstances. And I'm not one to give absolutes. Very often in the live stream, but that's definitely an absolute. Do not overseed St. Augustine with Bermuda grass seed. You will not like the result. It's not going to be good. All right. Brad Stevens says, thanks for your assistance on trying to identify my fungus. 2 bags of Heritage G in my shed ready. Yeah, Brad, no problem at all, man. I have to check my email and see if I got a response for you, sir. I have been literally busy working all day. I haven't had a chance to check email or anything like that, but I'll check it. And if I have an answer for you, I'll get that. And thanks for sending the pictures to me and trusting me to help you out with it. All right. And then Pacific Northwest Lawn chimes in and says, you have to put in a lot of humic 12 to even begin to affect pH. You won't be putting down that much. So there you go. I didn't think there was a huge, as far as it making a huge change to pH, but it sounds like Pacific Northwest Lawns is saying that that is not the case. So thank you, sir. Appreciate that, as always. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Tim Borski says, I have a reel mower and really didn't want to risk messing up my fresh reel. Lawn is at 3/4 of an inch. If I had a rotary, I would have probably left them and chopped them up. That's another reason, man. I totally get it. If you have one reel mower, you don't want to mess up the edge on it, and you want to pick up the cores, by all means. Again, there's nothing wrong with picking up the cores. The reason why I don't like to do it is because in my mind, I always think, hey, this plug is plenty of nice organic material, a little bit of grass in there. I may have some fertilizer in there. So I don't want to, I want to break all that up and then throw it out. Plus, it's a lot of work, right? So that's why I tend to not do that. All right. Brooklyn Boy, the question says, how often should I use Milo? It depends on the rate you're applying it at, Brooklyn Boy. If you're going light, you could really use it every 4 to 6 weeks. If you're putting it down heavy, you really can get, Milo can probably feed your lawn closer to 6 to 8 weeks, perhaps, right? So it just depends. It depends on the rate that you're using, that you're applying it at. I would say 6 weeks is probably a good safe number. Have you ever used Milo, George, on your lawn?
Yeah. When it comes to Milorganite, I like to use it once per year. Always, I have a tradition where I throw it down on Memorial Day. So I'll throw a pound of nitrogen down with the Milorganite. But since it's a 640, it has the high phos.
Right.
And historically, my lawn has been optimal in phos levels for the last 3-4 years.
Okay.
So by me applying that 1 pound of nitrogen once per year, that's been keeping my phos levels at bay because none of the other fertilizers that I use have phosphorus in it.
Cool. Yeah. So you have a system that allows you to keep your levels in the nice Goldilocks zone, and you get to pay homage to the fertilizer that it's like the training wheels for so many of us, right? Milorganite. Everyone throws shade on poor Milo now, but Milo was training wheels, man. A lot of people got their start with Milo, so you can't throw hate on it. All right. Yeah. So question from Next Level Lawn Care says, I'm mid renovation on my lawn, about to spread 9 yards of topsoil and compost. Wow, it's gonna be a lot. It's a big job. On top of nasty hard clay. Any products to put down before the topsoil, like biochar or anything? So here's the thing, Next Level Lawn Care. I know a lot of people don't like to or think it adds an extra step. The fact that you have super hard clay, I absolutely would aerate your lawn before you do that. You're going to break up a lot of the compaction. You're going to create all these voids that's going to allow the top dressing mixture you're using to integrate with that clay soil. I mean, you technically don't have to aerate when you top dress, but based on what you're seeing, I would absolutely make the effort and get that done. Even if you don't want to do it, pay someone to do it if you don't want to do it, because you are going to get a better result from doing that. As far as other products you can put down, yeah, if you want to put down a biochar product like Essential G or Carbon Pro G, those are great products, but they're not going to break up they're not going to relieve compaction in super heavy, like concrete clay, like what you're describing, good old fashioned hollow tine aerating. I would definitely do that, especially since you're about to put down 9 yards of material. That's a lot of work. I'm not sure if you're using a machine or not, but that's a lot of work. So I'd hate for you to do that and not get the best result. And, adding another, hour and a half, 2 hours to the process through core aeration, I think it's well worth it to get a better result. That is what I would do. And then I would use like Carbon Pro G or Essential G on top of that. That's what I would do. Andy, what are your thoughts, George? Would you you think do you aerate your lawn every year, or have you ever aerated it, or not something you guys do, coolers and guys do as much?
Yeah, with my front lawn, I've been using the manual aerator, which sucks, but at the end of the day, it's not that big. So I just go out there, kind of bite the bullet and do it once a year with the manual aerator. But I'm not really able to get like those hardcore double passes, like if I had like a powered aerator.
Sure.
Like where you can go back and forth. So it's not the best job, but it does release some compaction.
I'm sure it helps some.
But I totally agree with what you said.
No, and I'll tell you, like when I started out today with the aerator, I will tell you the Billy Dog is like way better than like the Ryan as far as like just beating you up. But like there is a point, and I think everyone does this. I think anybody that's ever aerated a lawn, there is a point where you're through the process, you're like halfway through and you're just questioning your life's choices. You're like, why am I doing this to myself? Like literally this machine is just trying, it's like being in a 2-hour jujitsu match or a 2-hour sparring match with something, with a piece of equipment that's trying to kill you. And heaven help you if your lawn has a slope or any uneven areas. It's an exercise in pain, but once it's done, and it literally is one of the best things you can do for your lawn. So every time I do it, it is a pain, but the lawn looks really good from it. It's a huge part of why my lawn looks the way it does. So I still do it every year. All right. Let's see. We got Brooklyn Boy.
Hey, Ron, I wanted to ask you real quick, Ron.
Sure.
Have you seen the new manual aerators that Swordman has made?
I have not. I have not seen those. I've not seen those.
Yeah,
No.
Swordman made a manual aerator. Supposedly it's made from like super hard steel, and the hollow tines are like really easy to like the dirt comes out of them really easily, because I'm using our Corona one right now and it gets clogged up and plugged up all the time. But with the new Swordman one, it's supposed to be made of like super smooth steel, and I saw it and it looks awesome. So I'm thinking about getting one of those for my front lawn.
So is it like a pitchfork that you're putting down? Like it's got like 3 prongs, or how does it? Is that what you're dealing with? Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I've never seen. Here's the thing, because I will tell you one thing. There is no way I am like manually core aerating my lawn. Like that would be like an entire weekend worth of work. I would be hating life doing that. So that's definitely not going to happen. That is one piece of lawn equipment that Ron Henry will never own, is a manual core aerator, because it's just too much work on my lawn. So. Let's see. And of course, Chris Balducci is saying, hey, good evening, Ron and George, as well as everyone else. Hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for chiming in, Chris. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And George, it looks like Brett wants to get his hand on an Owlet. So very, very cool. I'm not sure he's going to get his hands on your Owlet, but I'm sure you'll be able to get your hands on one at some point, Brett. I mean, you're in Florida.
I'm going to be taking a trip down to Florida soon, so maybe I'll bring it to you, Brett. We could do a side-by-side comparison. Seems like that's the trend right now with collaborations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely check it out and see, right? Okay, let's see. So Joey G sings, hey, dudes. Hey, thanks for coming to hang out, Joey G. And let's see what other questions. Lots of questions about the Owlet. Helmet Ruckus is saying you are absolutely going to love it. He says he's got a Kensington 20H and he could not live without it. So there you go. There's a big endorsement for the Owlet. And let's see what else we have here. So Kelby Ruiz has a question around thatch. He says, my lawn is 50% green, but I have a ton of thatch. What do you think I should do? Do I dethatch? You can. Here's the thing. I will tell you that I've only dethatched my lawn one time, like one time in like 6 years since I've been here, right? And it was when the guys at Real Rotors were kind enough to let me borrow their dethatcher, the Swordman. Did a great job. I got about six bags of material out of my lawn. If you got a lot of thatch in your lawn, sure, yeah, it cannot hurt. And the fact that you're about 50% green, and we're starting to get in the part in the growing season where temps are going up, Kelby, that you should get a good result from dethatching. So if you're worried about that, go for it. And it's not going to hurt anything to go ahead and get some of the thatch you have in your lawn gone. That's a good thing. It's another step. But yeah, go for it. In my case, I've gotten really good results from just a good scalp and just being really disciplined about getting all those clippings and that material out of the lawn. And that's worked really well for me, which is probably why when I dethatched, I didn't get as much from that process as someone that doesn't necessarily scalp their lawn very much. So, I guess your mileage may vary, but it certainly can't hurt, Kelby. So yeah, great question. Let's see what other questions we have here. So some back and forth about Owlet, and we have a super chat from Tim. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you so much.
Super chat
He
received.
says, Friday fun as always. Keep up the great works. Love the Princess Cut lawn care videos as well. Keep plugging away. Yeah, definitely, man. Again, George's been killing it, man. He has been dropping those view bomb videos, man. He's been doing really good. It's awesome to see. Very, very cool. Dude, I think it's a new camera. That's what it is, right? It's got to be the camera.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, man. You know me. I always say if you're gonna do something, there's no harm in doing a thing well, right? So if you can get some good hardware, like your budget allows you to get some good hardware to make good looking images, then why not? Nothing wrong with doing that. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. So Ashim Sister has a question. He's saying liquid versus granular humic. Which one is a better choice? Both. I would say either. I'm not going to put one over the other. The granular will probably stick around a little bit longer than the liquid, but I would do both. Whichever is easier for you to apply. A good example, right? My fertilizer of choice, Humic Max, which you can get at the golf course lawn store, it's a granular fertilizer and it has 8.9% humic acid in it, right? So that's a great choice for applying humic acid to your lawn, weekly. But now there's other products like Humic 12 that are liquid products that people use and they have really good results with. And if it's easier for you to apply that, then go for it. It's kind of when people ask me the question of like manual aerating or liquid aeration, I always say yes, because really you do both of them. Like there's no negative to doing both. So if you're looking for a good granular humic product, Ashim, I will show you this shameless plug. Is this one. So this is a 1608 Humic Max. This is an excellent fertilizer from Lebanon Turf. And it also has 8.9% humic acid in it. This is a really, really good fertilizer. As far as like one of the best things you can apply to your lawn, this is awesome stuff. So that would be a great option if you're looking for something that is a great fertilizer and also has some humic in it as well. So great question. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? What about you, George? What do you do? Do you do any kind of, I know you got your fertilizer program. What about you? Do you do any biostimulants in your lawn, anything like that as part of your regular program, or something you're still getting into?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not really huge on the biostimulants too much.
Okay.
This season, I started applying some of that multi-purpose plus.
Okay.
But, I really haven't seen the long-term effects with it. But last year, I did apply microgreen, the Green County stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to apply that with my PGR because it has some iron in it. But as far as like a full-blown biostimulant program, I haven't been doing it.
Okay, fair enough. We got to get you on that carbon kit package, man. We got to get you in the Miramichi Green train. I think you would like it. I think you.
Dude, I've been watching your videos for so long, man, talking about Carbon Pro G and all this, man. I feel left out, so I think I'm gonna take a trip over to Site One and pick some up.
Now, here's the thing: I'm not responsible for you buying up a whole lot of this stuff once you see the results with it. Because I'm telling you, it is awesome stuff. It's a really good product, and the price is right for it. Right, it's not super expensive, which is good. Okay, so we have a question about sequencing. So D6 Paintball is back. He says, is it a good idea to put down humic at the time of top dressing, or should I wait until new seed is established if I'm using a good top soil? I have put down a balance for it before top dressing. I don't see any negative to doing it prior to top dressing. So again, you want to get it integrated with the soil, and you're literally putting like another layer on top of your existing soil. So, if it were me, I would do that, prior to doing your top dressing. That's how I would do that. That's what I've done. Like literally anytime I aerate my lawn, like the lawn's getting fertilizer, it's getting like either Essential G or Carbon Pro G. It's getting, I'm dumping everything that I want to, throw at it to be able to feed the soil, because you're literally fast tracking it right into the soil, because there's literally voids opened up all over the place. It's a great time to do it. So top dressing, you're literally sandwiching, any of the products that you're talking about, like, so humic in your case, with a layer of sand and soil. So yeah, again, I would do it prior to top dressing if it were me. Great question. Go Hard has a super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Super chat received.
So thank you, Ron. You're very, very welcome. Very welcome. Let's see what else do we have here. We have another question from Carlo Timothy Belosis. He says, what order do the following: kill grass to renovate, grade level, slope, irrigation install root barrier from neighbors, incoming bamboo? Let's see. So you're trying to do a renovation. Do you want to grade and level Install. So wow. Okay. I guess what I would, if you're going to do a full renovation, I would probably kill the grass. I would then install the irrigation because that's going to be a destructive process. And then I would follow that by grading and leveling the lawn. And the root barrier from your neighbor's incoming bamboo, you can do that at any time. You can do that whenever you want. That's separate from everything else. But I'm thinking like what we did with Alex's lawn. We took care of the weeds first, and then he wanted to get irrigation done, and we did that because even though he did the vibratory trenching to get the lines put in, it still does damage the lawn, right? You can see where like the lawn was rooted up and was dug into or was trenched. So in your case, I would kill the grass, install irrigation, and then grade and slope. Final answer. That is what I would do because in the end, once you finish grading it and leveling it, you've gotten all the destructive stuff done, and all you have to do now at that point is, put down whatever seed or sod you're going to go with, and you should be good to go. That's what I would do. What do you think, George? Would you change it up, or you think that I'm on the right track here on this one?
Yeah, I would do it just like that. I've seen a lot of videos with people installing irrigation. I remember, like you said, there's a lot of tire marks and ruts that happen from the skid steers and everything that come in. So I would definitely do that first. Whether you kill the grass before or not, I don't think that matters too much.
Right.
But I would definitely do the irrigation first. And
sure.
Speaking
Before
of irrigation, I'm getting some irrigation myself coming up here pretty soon.
Oh, nice. What are you doing? You going in ground, or are you going? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's gonna be in ground. I've been talking to. Well, I don't want to give away the company, but I've been talking to some people, and we're gonna get some stuff going. So I'm super excited about that.
Very cool. Nice. Let me know. That's going to be awesome. I'll look out for the content. I'm sure you're going to film it and make a video about it. So I'll sure we see that.
And then there's going to be a whole bunch of content of getting my lawn back to how it was
after the mess from the irrigation. Yeah.
So Carlo, if you do that, keep an eye out for that content I have. I'll
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we have a question for you, George. It says, Rohinton Mystery 24 says, question for Princess Cut. I saw your video on KBG and remember you had some fungus issue. Friend of mine now has the same problem. What did you end up putting down for it?
First of all, I would ask probably what kind of fungus that they have. If it was the same one that I had, then it would be the powdery mildew, which I hear is actually pretty common. So I haven't applied anything to it yet as far as fungicides go. With the powdery mildew, usually it's not detrimental to the lawn unless it gets out of hand. So right now, since it's early in the season, in the springtime, then I'm going to wait till things warm up a little bit, and hopefully it'll disappear. But before I would recommend anything, I would want to know exactly what kind of fungus that they have.
That's a great answer. See that? He wasn't like, just throw this down. You're like, no, I have to know. I'm a lawn doctor, sir. I need to know exactly what's going on before I give you a prescription. See, I like that. It's good. That's a good answer, George. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So questions here from Leon Harris. He says, thoughts on Tiff Grand Bermuda? I can't really offer an opinion, Leon, because I've never actually seen it myself. It's Bermuda, so it's probably awesome. I will say that. But I've never actually seen Tiff Grand myself to be able to give an opinion on it. It's probably going to be just fine, though. And then Brett is chiming in. Brett has spoken. He says both are more shade tolerant than Bermuda. I think he's talking about the question about Zoysia and St. Aug. He says neither are great in the shade. So there you go. With warm season grass, when people say Zoysia is more shade tolerant, yes, it will put up with a little bit more or a little less sunlight than Bermuda, but it's still not going to do well without a lot of sunlight. Like all grass loves sunlight. Warm season grass loves a ton of sunlight. So the more you can throw at it, the better. All right, the Longenier Vince, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. I really appreciate it. Like the content, you're doing a really good job. I really liked your video that you did. I think you did the video on the compost spreader. That was really cool. I enjoyed watching that. So keep it up, sir. Keep going. Keep grinding. Really good stuff. And George, you're getting a shout out. He says, at Princess Cut Lawn Care, skyrocketing with the subs, bro. Congrats. Flex, yeah, good job,
not just me, Vince too. Shout out to Vince the Longenier. He's also taking off. He's doing a good job. He's part of the freshman class along with myself, and he's doing a real good job. So I'm proud of you too, Vince. Keep it up, bud. Sure.
So Mr. Green Thumb says, educate me on Bermuda seed heads. What exactly do they benefit your lawn, if any? Okay, so here's my understanding of it. Mr. Green Thumb. And again, I'm not an agronomist, but this is just from the research that I've done. So I tend to get seed heads in my lawn, like not right now, but whenever we start getting consistently hot temperatures, right? So like the temps are transitioning out of like spring, so like 70s and 80s days to like literally 80s and 90s days, right? The seed heads are like a stress response for the grass, saying that, hey, listen, it's getting really hot. I don't know what's going on. The temperature could go to 300 degrees. So it creates seed heads, and it as a way to kind of like send offspring to kind of like give itself a chance to propagate. So it's really a stress response to the grass. Now, some people say that with adequate watering you can prevent that. No matter what I've tried, the one thing I will tell you that has helped me with Bermuda and seed heads is PGR. Using T-Nex, I'm not saying all PGRs, but T-Nex anyway, it does reduce the amount of seed heads that I get in my lawn. It tends to be only like a 2-week problem. Again, once the temps start going from like 70s, 80s to like 80s, 90s, or starting a lot more hot weather, that's when you'll start to occasionally see seed heads come in. Once the Bermuda begins adjusting, saying, "Oh man, well I guess we're not going to die. It's not going to go to 2,000 degrees, and I don't need to keep making babies to try and for life to carry on." The problem goes away. But adding PGR to your lawn, using PGR on your lawn, will help with that. It will help suppress it some. You're still going to probably see it, but it will help suppress it some. So that is my understanding of why seed heads are a thing, and that is how I deal with them. And will they benefit your lawn? Not really. They're kind of unsightly. Like if you're really trying to keep your lawn short, they don't look that great. I don't think so. And they can be kind of tough to mow. So if you're someone that doesn't mow your lawn very often, like seed heads are super thin, like the stalks that they're on. So what happens is when you go with the real mower, unless you're really lucky, the mower will just fold them down and then they'll just pop right back up. So you got this really ugly looking, stuff in your lawn. So I don't like them. They don't look good. But it's typically, at least on my lawn, like a 2, maybe 3-week problem while the lawn is getting used to more heat, and then we're good to go. Great question. I've been asked that one before. All right. Let's see. Brett's Casper says, I need George to teach me the way to scale my channel. So there you go, George. You got a side business there. You can be lawn care YouTube Yoda. You can help us all grow our channels. So you definitely got it figured out, man. Whatever you're doing, he's definitely working. All right. Let's see. He's like, no comments. He's like, I'm not. He's like, my secrets, I ain't sharing that. Y'all ain't getting that.
Hey, Brett, come on. I already shared one thing with you, man. You haven't done it yet. So I got my eye on you, Brett.
Right. Okay.
Once you get that done, I'll give you some more secrets.
Some more secrets? All right. Good. Very, very cool. All right. So Jay Pompano has a question here. He says, I put down some prodiamine and it's working well. Good. Some repair areas from pulling nasty orchard grass. I'm not familiar with that one, but okay. He says, can I put lawn soil and seed on spots, or will there be prodiamine residue preventing? Wait till fall instead. Great question, Jay. Here's the thing. I know that prodiamine will hurt seeds' ability to germinate. That is definitely a thing. However, having said that, last year I put like pre-emergent all over my lawn this spring, and then because I was a hardhead and I just wanted to see what would happen anyway, I went ahead and seeded the entire lawn with Arden 15, and a lot of it grew in. So, I guess my point is, if you want to try it, if you want to try and fix some spots that are unsightly because you're pulling out some weeds, there's not really, outside of the cost of some seed, there's not really a negative to trying it now and seeing what happens, right? Like if you try it and the prodiamine there's still enough of it that it's, causing the roots to not be able to grow and the grass is it's just dying, it's not working, then yeah, wait till the fall and then you can go from there. But if it works, then you're ahead of the game. So there's, outside of the cost of the seed and your time, there's no harm really to trying it out. So I would just give it a shot. I can't say for sure that it'll be successful. I can tell you that, again, Arden 15 will germinate with prodiamine in the lawn, but it's definitely not the smart way. It's not the correct way to do it. So, give it a shot. Give it a shot. We can find out. I can't tell you for sure what kind of results you're going to get with that, unfortunately. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. Brett is saying, if I make some videos, I want my channel to grow. That's pretty important, Brett. You do have to put content out if you want to, but you're busy, man. You're out there, slinging fertilizer bags, and you are carrying the flag. You're fighting the good fight for all of us DIYers. So don't discount what you're doing. You're doing a lot of important stuff. All right, let's see.
Brett's one of the guys that got me into real mowing, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Brett was the gateway, right? He got you into doing real mowing, and now look at you. You got like an awesome YouTube channel. It's doing well, growing well. You are like a mower holic. You have how many real mowers? How many mowers have you, or do you currently own And how many mowers have you owned, George? If you can say. I mean, I know it's like the question of like
I
asking.
got about like 6. Well, I got the Scots, I got the Toro Recycler, the Honda HRX. I had the Greensmaster, not anymore. I missed that thing, man. It was so sad going, dude. I felt like I was even kidding. And then I'm gonna have the Allet now, and then I got the McLean as well. So
Is that 6 or 7?
Right now I think it's 6.
It's 6, yeah. But okay, about to be 7. Well, wow, yeah. So you're a lot of mowers. Yeah, it's some hardware, man. That's pretty good. I don't feel so bad about having 2 mowers. I feel kind of guilty about having 2 real mowers, but obviously you have shown that it is a-okay to do that. So there we go.
If you think I'm hoarding mowers, Jason's the one who's hoarding the mowers, man. He's got 2 greens mowers now. Actually,
Wow.
3, I think.
Very nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Jason says 4 to 6 mows is what the labels say. I don't know about Bermuda, though. I've been early on herbicides after seeding with no damage on KBG. So there you go. So you have someone that has used herbicides after seeding with no bad results. So that's obviously an option that can work well. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Super TA is talking to you, George. He says, George, I'm in the same boat with you as new KBG Reno. Get grass healthy and thick first. We're using any kind of post-emergent. I mow 3 times per week. And trust me, the KBG is going to get extremely thick. So he's throwing out some hope for you there, George, on your lawn.
That's awesome to hear. Are we that far back in the chat?
Yeah, we are. I got to speed
man.
up. All right. So Dalvin Larry says, can someone skill me on the reasoning behind not applying FERT on new sod within the first 6 weeks? I'm on week 1 and I want to cut it and spoon feed it. LOL. That's a good question. I mean, I have put down like starter fertilizer on new sod and the no ill results. I'm not sure why they say not to put any on it for 6 weeks. I mean, if you're going to do it, I would not go crazy. A light application is what we would go for, but I'm not sure the reasoning behind why. George, do you have any insights on that one? Why would you not put down any kind of fertilizer on sod for 6 weeks?
Well, I know when it comes to the sod, I've actually been doing some research on this. You want to make sure that it takes root first.
Sure.
And so before that happens, you want to wait to apply the fertilizer. Otherwise, it can just get bound up and, the roots won't grow down. But I do see somebody in the chat right now that just did a sod project. If you want to get any tips, his name is Castleberry, Paul Castleberry. Go check out his channel. He just did a full-blown sod project. So he's going to have a whole bunch of tips and tricks for you guys if you want to learn how to maintain sod.
There you go. So you got someone in the chat that's doing the exact same thing you're doing, Dalvin. I have put down starter fertilizer on sod without any ill results. But I mean, it's very light, All right. So Kelby Ruiz says, I want to dethatch, but I don't want to hurt the progress of my lawn. What do you think? Well, here's the thing. If you have Bermuda, like there's practically nothing you're going to be able to do that's going to permanently damage or stop Bermuda. The big thing I'd say is here's the thing with grass, or at least if you're going for like the golf course lawn look anyway, there are times when you have to make things worse so they can become better. Like right now, like literally I looked at my lawn before aerating it and it was looking gorgeous. I took pictures of it, I posted them, and did all that kind of stuff, did all that before because the lawn was looking really, really good. But it's going to look even better after aerating it. Like your lawn may look okay now before dethatching, but 2 things. One, getting rid of thatch or getting rid of too much thatch in your lawn, because you do need some thatch, right? But getting rid of excessive thatch in your lawn is a good thing. It's going to help your lawn grow in better. It's going to help it perform better. And then second, we're early enough in the season that anything that you do to it as far as like aerating or dethatching, the lawn's going to recover from it just fine, Kelby. So I wouldn't sweat it too much about worrying about you're going to do some cardinal sin, you're going to damage your lawn, and it's not going to bounce back. Because again, one, you got Bermuda. It's like even if you try really hard, I mean, short of like going and planting a bunch of trees in your lawn, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do to permanently mess up Bermuda. So great. Great stuff. Okay, let's see what else we have going on here. Let's see. So Brett's going back and forth with some of the guys in the chat. And let's see what other questions we have here. So Jeremy Vigor has a question about St. Augustine. He says, I have St. Augustine trying to grow into my Bermuda. What would be the best way to handle this problem? So to my knowledge, Jeremy, there's not really a herbicide that you can apply to St. Aug that will not damage sorry, there's that you can actually, let me think about that. That's actually not true. There, if you actually used like Spectracide, actually the one that I made the video on, because it has I can never say it, quinclorac in it. Like depending on the St. Augustine you have, that is not necessarily a safe herbicide to use on St. Aug. It can damage it, because I guess quinclorac thinks that St. Augustine is crabgrass. So you could use something like that, because that is safe for Bermuda. But from a cultural practice standpoint, mow your Bermuda short, right? Like Bermuda, if you mow it like this tall, like an inch and a half, it's going to love that, and St. Augustine is going to be hating life. So, if you want to promote the Bermuda to grow well, mow it at the correct height, which is shorter, which is bad for the St. Augustine. So that is how I would probably approach it. If you want to spray a herbicide, you probably can. I'm not sure if quinclorac is actually rated for St. Aug, but I mean, I would probably go after it with just mowing practices, like mow lower, and you're going to give the Bermuda a competitive advantage over the St. Augustine. That is what I would do. Let's see. Kelby says, could you put down a triple 12 all year and be fine? Yes, you could. Okay, George, you got like a helper, man, that's in the live stream. You got a backup, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's that time, man. It's bedtime, so Dad does gotta say goodbye to his baby.
No worries, man. Well, yeah, whatever you got to do. I mean, I can hold down the fort while you handle family, man. Family first, right? So yeah, no worries.
Say hi, Bappa. She hasn't been able to say hi since America's Top Lawns in freshman class. So she's back on the live stream again.
She's like, no, she's like stranger danger. There you go, smart girl. All right.
She doesn't come down here often, so she always wants to grab everything down here. This is like new territory.
I got you. I hear you. All right. So yes. So Kelby, yes, you can apply triple 12 all year and be fine. Actually, given his soil test results, Alex is going to be running a triple 12 all year on his lawn. So yeah, there's no issue with that whatsoever. All right. So Neighborhood Dominator says, what cameras are we using here? You guys are both crystal. I think George probably got the better of the two cameras right now. Like what I am on right now is a Sony A7R4 with a 24-70 f2.8 lens. So it's really the camera is good, but really it's really good glass. It's a really good lens is what I'm using. Because the camera that you guys see that I use in most of my YouTube videos is a Sony A7S III, and that lives on my gimbal, which you can kind of see right there. That's my gimbal, and it just lives on that. I don't take it off because it would be too much trouble to have to rebalance it every time. So this camera that I use for my live stream is my A7R4. It's like my photo camera, thumbnail camera, and live stream camera. George, what are you rocking? What you rolling with?
Yeah, I got the Sony A7S III too. So the video that Ron usually films where he's out and about vlogging, that's the same camera that I'm using now for the live stream. So
cool. And what
it's
glass?
An awesome camera.
What are you
right now I'm using the Sony G 20mm 1.8.
Cool, very nice. Yep, so good glass too. So the big thing, yeah, not to turn into like geeking out on like cameras, Neighborhood Dominator. The camera is important, but the most important thing is get a good lens. Like there's a saying, date your camera, marry your lens. Like if you can afford to spend money on something, buy a really good lens and buy a decent camera, because like a good lens will make a subpar camera look amazing, but a crappy lens will make an amazing camera look, not that great. So the glass is a lot more important. The lens is way important than the camera itself. You can do both, even better, right? But the lens is what's really important.
And I would say only invest in a super expensive camera if filmmaking is really a hobby for you. You don't need it for your YouTube channel, but if you really like doing this as a hobby, then treat yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, I like it because I like making good images. I mean, I like the content looking good. So that's why I do it. I used to do photography on the side, outside of YouTube. So I just like producing really good images, and a good camera does that. All right. But I can promise you, like, no one really cares. Like, no one, like, most of my videos up until August of last year were shot on an iPhone. Like, the videos my videos that had the most views were pretty much all shot on an iPhone. So it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is get good audio. Audio is more important than video. All right. So BB Tank 3000 says, soil test results show I have a lot of iron remaining in the soil from last year's Milorganite, but my lawn is currently light green. Can I apply liquid iron, or will that cause iron toxicity? Two things. One, I'm not sure what kind of grass you have, BB Tank 3000, but you're still relatively early in the season, right? So, the lawn is probably not like in full swing just yet. But as far as adding a little extra iron, you're not going to really hurt anything. I had a good conversation with the guys at MySoil. Actually, there's a video that we did where we were talking about that from Chris from MySoil about iron, and he's saying that a lot of us DIYers that are pushing our lawns, trying to get the lawn as green as possible, that are running iron a little bit higher. There's not really a huge negative to that. So yeah, if you want to make a light iron application, I wouldn't go super crazy. Then yeah, feel free. It's not gonna, especially if it's liquid iron. It's that's not gonna materially build up the amount of iron that's in the soil. But yeah. So no, you're unlikely to cause a problem that's going to damage the grass. Don't go super crazy heavy with it though, right? But some of what you're seeing is probably the time of year, not really an iron deficiency. It's more likely that the lawn isn't really growing yet because it's not outside of iron. Also make sure that your other soil tests, like your macros, are good. So make sure your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium, like all of those are where they need to be. And then if you want to sweeten it with a little bit of iron, a little bit of iron, you're not going to hurt anything. So yeah, you're unlikely to do iron toxicity to damage your grass by doing that. Great question. All right, trying to catch up in the chat here. Let's see. Brett is saying, I'm planning on overseeding Monaco in the back. How often should I water when I throw it down? This is way different than cool season stuff. So here's the thing, Brett. You are in for some pain, my friend. And when I say pain, the putting the seed down is not the bad part. It's the watering. So the easiest way I can describe what it takes to get Bermuda to germinate properly, because I have actually pulled it off. This is my formula. What I've done is imagine that your lawn is getting rained on for almost 3 weeks. A light rain, but it's literally damp for 3 weeks. Not super damp to where you cause fungus issues, but literally you're going to be watering the lawn. You're in Florida, so in Florida you guys get rain. So if you get rain once a day, which you tend to do in Florida, like in the afternoon, you could probably get by with a morning watering, and then if you get an afternoon shower, that might be enough. But here in Georgia, I can tell you, I've had success with seeding Arden 15 watering 3 times a day, which means that what you're really looking forward to is a really expensive water bill. Like it costs a lot of money to seed Bermuda, not because of the seed, because of the amount of water you have to put on it for it to germinate. So, and really, Arden 15 is one of the better ones in that it can start germinating in 2 weeks. Like when I did some of it on the front lawn this season, it's already grown in. It's actually looking really nice, and also in the swale area. But you really need a budget for 3 weeks of regular watering. So, I'd say the big thing is you can't allow the lawn to fully dry out. It can't get hard and crusty. It doesn't need to be sopping wet, but it needs to be damp. The seed needs to be wet, for a minimum 2 weeks. I would budget for 3 weeks, which means, again, a big water bill. And Arden 15, 2 weeks you can get germination. So that's what you can look forward to. It is different to cool season grass, where it's a lot easier, I believe, at least for rye, than something like Bermuda or again, using Monaco, which is a type of Bermuda. So let us know how it goes, and that's a great idea for content, because I definitely would like to see how your overseeding project goes, sir. Be very cool. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Logic, let's see. Logic Whiskey says, would you say to do the same thing to a fescue lawn if that has as much weed like you answered the Bermuda question? No, I wouldn't tell you to mow fescue super short. What would I tell you for fescue lawn? I will tell you that mowing your lawn regularly, right? So mowing it regularly at the correct height is going to allow that lawn to really thicken up. And if a thicker lawn is going to hurt the ability for weeds to germinate. With a fescue lawn, I'm not a cool season guy, but for a fescue lawn, you may have to resort to using some post-emergent. You may have to use some herbicide to knock the weeds back. You obviously can't mow it short like you do Bermuda, or you'll kill it or damage it badly at the very least. But the one thing you can do that also applies to Bermuda is mowing it frequently, right? The more you mow it, it's going to help it thicken up and just be very healthy, and that is going to help with you having less weeds in your lawn. George, what do you think? You have fescue in the back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is your mowing practice with the fescue or between the KBG in the front and the fescue in the back? When you mow the front, do you also mow the back, or what's your mowing schedule between the two, the front and the back?
I usually do them on different days. Probably a bad habit, but I definitely mow the front a lot more. And as far as the back, I just keep it at 3 inches, and then once it hits an inch, then I just go mow it. And the more you mow it, the more it'll thicken up. So.
Yep. Agreed.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, the more you mow it, the more it's going to thicken up. That's true for all grass types for the most part. So, Hopefully that helps Logic Whiskey. Great handle, great question. All right, so Kelby Ruiz is back. Here's another question. He says, "Hey, advice on filling in dead spots. I'm scared putting seed down, thinking that it will grow to be the wrong type. Could filling it in with grass clippings be better?" So, if by grass clippings you mean like plugs, yes, that could work. I'd be interested in figuring out though why you have the bare spots, Kelby, because there could be a couple of things, right? It could be a fungus problem. It could be a shade problem. We need to figure out like why that you have the dead spots in the first place. It could be that it's just, you just need more time and for the lawn to grow in. But if you've got if none of those things are a problem, right? So you've got no shade, there's not really a fungus problem, or if there's a fungus problem, you put something down to take care of it. You can take and you're afraid about like having two different grass types, which is a valid concern. What I would do is just plug the lawn. So once the lawn is growing well, take some plugs from parts of the lawn that are doing well and transfer those to the area that's a little bit thin, that's bare, and that way you know for sure that when that grows in, it's going to match, right? It's going to be a little bit slower process, but that's going to be a way that you're going to get, a filled in area that is definitely going to match your existing grass. That is what I would do. So, great question. What say you, George? Any thoughts on that one? He's like, I got to read the question.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So he had advice on filling in bare spots in the lawn. Like he doesn't want to put seed down. So I was telling him just to plug the lawn plug the bare spots with existing grass. That would be how I'd go about it. But I'm not sure if you ever had bare spots or if you dealt with it. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, aside from throwing down seed, if it's Kentucky bluegrass, you could just let it spread out. But I totally get that some people really don't have the patience for that because it could take some time. And like Ron was saying, I would look into getting a pro plugger. You could definitely transplant some plugs into the bare spots. You just want to hit that plugger in like a non-conspicuous area of your lawn and then just plug it down, make sure you water it, and it'll grow in good.
Okay, I got you. Very, very cool. All right, so Always Occupied says, do you put hay over seeds or do you use peat moss or top it off with topsoil? So what I have done is I've tend to in the case with the front lawn when I did I used carbonized PN. I tend to put down some kind of material, right? I put that down, I put the seeds down, and then I just simply take my leveling rake and I just kind of work that in, like work the material in over it, if that makes sense. I've never used hay over it. I haven't used peat moss. I haven't done either of those things to help with with like covering the seeds up. I've not had the need to do that. It probably would work better if I did, but I have not done that. Looks like we just lost George, so I will.
I'm still here. My audio's still here.
Okay, you're still there.
I think my camera might have ran out of battery.
Well, go ahead, man. Go swap it around. Go swap battery. Do a battery swap. No worries. We will keep rolling. Okay, so next question we have going on here is from Zoysia. Actually, George, I'll pull you off until I are back. Let's see. So I'll just go back to to here, and when you get back in, your camera's back on. I'll bring you back in. All right. So Super TA says Zoysia here in New Jersey is just now greening up. It's painful. However, my neighbor has no issues when we hit hot and humid KBG. As we start to struggle. Yeah, I mean, your thing is you're in New Jersey, man. The fact that you even got Zoysia to grow in New Jersey, Super TA is already an accomplishment in of itself. So I wouldn't to worry. I wouldn't. Here's the thing: you are growing a grass type in a climate that's really not ideal for it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But you're saying that it's painful to watch. Your neighbor has no issues when you get the humid weather and the KBG starts to struggle. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I growing Zoysia in New Jersey is not something that I would necessarily go for doing. Hang on. Let me text Princess here, see how he's doing. Let's go yep. Good. Yeah. So George is on his way. I'm working his way back in here. He should be back with us soon. Cool. All right. So next question we have is from Rowan Mohair Ministry. He says, question for both of you. Lawn is 6,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet front and 3,000 square feet back. What size of reel mower is ideal? Bigger, the better. Greensmaster 1600. For 6,000 square feet, I would probably roll with a 1600 row in mystery, because you figure that 6,000 square feet is enough. That the wider mower, the stripes on it are going to kind of fit the lawn, right? So one thing you don't want is like to have a small little lawn, like a tiny, like they say, call it a postage stamp lawn, and then put like a really wide mower on it. So for 3,000 square feet, that works well. And then you put, I would absolutely use a 1600, because the smaller ones, like the 1,000, is a little bit narrow. So I would, the one that I have, the Greensmaster 1600, is exactly what I would use for a lawn of your size. You're gonna love it, man. The stripes are insane with that mower. So yeah, very, very, very.
What's up,
cool.
Ron? I'm back.
You're back. Okay, let me bring you in here. I'll go back to interview, and just like that, the magic of Ecamm, we are all back in. Very, very cool. Thanks for the question, Rohan Ministry. So yeah, there you go. Your question about the GM, go with the 1600. That's what I would roll with for your lawn. All right. So Pristine Auto Detailing says, keep up the great work, content guys. Thank you for all the great info. Chad at Lancaster, PA. Cool season. Sissy grass here. Here's the thing. Cool season grass is not sissy grass. Like, I will tell you, part of it is envy. I'll be completely honest. Like, perennial rye, like you look at like what Augusta National looks like when they put down that rye on Augusta, it's gorgeous. And nothing, like, I mean, my lawn, my stripe action is pretty good for Bermuda. I mean, it's good for Bermuda, but nothing stripes like cool season grass, man. It's like a whole nother level of stripe action. And like, you look at like was it Pete, like GCI, like you watch some of his mowing videos, the stripes are absolutely insane, right? So while my lawn looks pretty good for Bermuda, cool season still dominates, man, when it comes to like the ultimate stripe action, at least in my opinion. Some people may disagree, but I think cool season, you guys have got that, you guys have got that nailed down. Very cool. George, we lost you again, man. I think your battery died out. So let me.
Yeah, for some reason I have my camera attached to the USB, but for some reason it's not holding the charge while it's charging.
Yeah, no, it won't do that. I will. I'll tell you when we get done. I'll send you an Amazon. I'll tell you what you need to buy to fix that problem. Like, I have a solution for that. You're right, because even with the A7S3, even though it does have power delivery over USB, it still does drain a little bit. But I got a solution for you that will allow you to run for 8 hours if you want, and it will never die. So after the live stream, I'll tell you what to do.
All right, then, Ron. Well, I want to say farewell to everyone that was watching. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream and seeing me here. Ron, thank you so much for having me on, bud. I really appreciate it. If you're still on in about an hour while my camera charges, I'll definitely come back in. Yeah, dude, I'll keep the stream open. If we're still rolling, just come rejoin Ecamm, and I'll bring you right back in, man. I really appreciate it. You're dropping tons of knowledge, so thank you so much for coming to hang out, sir. Yeah. All right, thanks again, Ron. No worries. No problem at all. Sorry I don't have the dummy battery to stay. Yeah, you need to have the dummy battery. We got to get you on that. But that's okay. We'll fix it for next time. All right, guys. Cool. Thank you so much, Ron. No problem. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Okay, guys. So let's see what else we have here. So Lawn to Learn says, hey, the reason why I'm very active on your channel is because as a viewer, it's my way of saying thank you. I really enjoy your content. Since I've gone Bermuda and joined the club. Yeah, man. I appreciate it, dude. I always appreciate people. Again, like there's hundreds of hours of content uploaded to YouTube every single minute. Like literally every minute, there's like tons of hours that are uploaded. So the fact that you would take time out of your day to watch my content or any other YouTuber's content, and then even more leave a comment, I feel compelled that while I can, my channel is still relatively small. While I can, it's a great way to say thank you back to answer your question or just to say, hey, thanks. I really appreciate you watching, because you don't have to. You could be doing something else, right? So I appreciate it, Lawn to Learn. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see what else we got going here. Lawn to Learn says, I was real mowing my St. Augustine at 3/4 of an inch, and the grass started growing laterally. It did not die at all. So there you go. I mean, I know St. Aug likes to be mowed taller, but it does have runners. It does have stolons. So I guess at 3/4 of an inch, that's not low enough for St. Aug to kill it off. But yeah, I stand corrected. All right. But thank you for sharing your thoughts, Lawn to Learn. Really appreciate it. All right. So T Winnings is saying, hey, I have a T-Next question. I have a mix of hybrid Bermuda and common.
Should I go with the hybrid rate or the common rate? So T Winnings, what do you think I'm going to say? I think you know me well enough. So you got common, which has a lower rate. The rate for common, I believe, is 1/4 of an ounce. It's like 0.25 ounces per thousand. And then if you have Tifway and a few other hybrids, I think the rate goes up to 0.38 ounces per thousand. So quite a bit more, right? I would go at the lower rate. I would apply it at the lower rate. So go with, if you have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, that's going to mean 1 ounce for 4 gallons of water to cover 4,000 square feet. Honestly, the quarter pound, the quarter ounce per thousand rate is easier. The math is easier, right? Because all you need to do is fill up your backpack sprayer, 4 gallons of water, and put 1 ounce of T-Nex in it, and you're good to go. So I would do that. I would not take the chance of potentially damaging or doing something that's going to hurt the common by running the hybrid rate on it. And you're still going to get good regulation out of the hybrid at 1/4 ounce per thousand. So yeah, I would do that because that way, all the grasses in your lawn is all going to be happy. So great question, sir. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, Elevated Lawnscape says, Super TA, so-called lawn care order, and the neighbor dominator. What's up, fellas? All your lawns are looking great right now. So shout out to everybody. Really, very cool. Let's see what other questions we got going on here. I'm getting caught up in the chat, guys. Dimitri's chiming in saying, "Hey, Ron, hey George, what's up?" Hopefully George will be back. We'll see. I know he's got to get his battery charged up, and we'll see what's going on here. All right, let's see what other questions we have. All right. Green Mates Lawn Care says, we aerate in the spring to restore and in the fall to overseed. So it looks like Green Mates Lawn Care, I think that's a channel in the UK, I believe. I might be mistaking you for someone else. If I am, I apologize. But I think there's a channel in the UK that is that name that I've seen before. But yeah, there you go. They aerate in the spring to restore the lawn to help, just stimulate new growth, and then the fall for overseeding. So very cool. Thank you, Green Mates, for chiming in. So I have a St. Augustine question. I'm not sure if I'm able to answer that, Christian, but we'll give it a shot. He says, "Hey guys, I have a question. I have St. Augustine palmetto. I keep fighting disease. What do you think I should do? I'm in Miami, Florida. I laid down Disease X and BioAdvance. Thanks, guys. Still there." So here's the thing. The person that would probably be the best to answer this question is Alan. So if you've not checked out the Lawn Care Nuts channel, you've not heard of Alan Hayne, which I'm sure you have. If you've heard of any of us, you've heard of Alan. Check with him because he does have issues or has had issues in the past with fungus in his lawn. One thing I can tell you, so you're dealing with Disease X and you try BioAdvance. You could try some of the more potent or one of the fungicides that have a little bit more active ingredient, like the ones from Syngenta. So something like Headway G. Which is it's azoxystrobin and propiconazole, if memory serves me correctly. That's some of the other the Home Depot fungicides. A lot of them tend to have the same active ingredient, but what you find in like Headway or Heritage is the amount of active ingredient is more, and the carrier is completely different than what they use. So give it a shot. It might be worth trying that and seeing if that will help with your fungus issue. But also check out Alan's content. Again, he is the St. Augustine guy. As far as someone that's going to know, what to put on St. Aug, he's the guy that I would reach out to because again, he has fungus issues and also he tells you about it, right? Like there's a lot of people that have fungus problems in their lawn and they don't want to admit to it, right? They won't tell you they have lawn fungus, and he actually does that and lets you know what he's doing to treat it. But yeah, Christian, I just put in the chat there a link to Headway G if you want to try that. I'm not sure if Alan's used that before, but see what he says, and I'm sure he'll be able to point you in the right direction. Sorry you're dealing with that. Fungus absolutely stinks to have in your lawn. I had a small problem here with mine. I put Headway G down, smoked it out, and the lawn is looking great. So, but again, the Bermuda, St. Augustine, very different, right? Like fungus in Bermuda isn't as much of an issue as it can be in certain other grass types. Certainly not like St. Aug. All right, let's see. So Sonny Bermuda says, "What's up? What's going on, Sonny? I'm still looking for content from you, sir. I know we're in the season. Got to start throwing that content out, sir. Great to see you in the chat. And guys, while I'm taking some of my lemonade, and while you guys, I'm sure all you are drinking your beverage of choice, if you guys would touch that like button ever so gently, it's free to you. It helps me. It helps the channel. And it sends good vibes. The algorithm tells YouTube that we are having a good time talking about lawn care on a Friday night. And I would appreciate it if you did. All right, so let's see what other questions we we have here. So it's a good question. So James says, is it true to go half rate on the first app of T-Nex on hybrid? And Brett in like YouTube vet status says, I tell people to do that so they don't overdo it. Over application can stunt your lawn. And he's right. You know, like PGR and herbicides are one of those things that more is absolutely not better. Like I can tell you that the rate that they give you for T-Nex, 1/4 of an ounce per 1,000 square feet, is more than enough. If you do more than that and you're not using a hybrid grass, you are going to damage, you're going to hurt your lawn. You can stunt the growth, you can do all kinds of nasty things to it. And it's just like more is not better with herbicides. More is definitely not better when it comes to plant growth regulators. So, you know, I get what Brett's saying as far as, you know, giving people a lower rate because they don't go heavier. Because it is true, like when you pour out an ounce of T-Nex, like it's like, I mean, this is my lemonade, but when you pour an ounce of T-Nex, it looks like this much, right? And it's kind of hard. Like a person looking at that is going to say, could like that much of anything really work for like a month? The answer is yes. So don't be tempted to, let's say, you know, I put down like double, it'll be even better, because I can assure you it absolutely will not. Don't go heavy on PGR. Like follow the rate. Follow the rate. Let's see here. So Kelby Ruiz says, can raking out all the dead grass of your lawn work just as well as dethatching? It could. I mean, that's essentially what dethatching is, right? If you want to get a rake and you want to just turn and work it all out, I mean, you're essentially dethatching your lawn just using a manual process. It's a lot more work to do it that way. But yeah, essentially what you're describing is dethatching, Kel, because that definitely could work. All right. Let's see what we got. What other questions we have going on here. Looking here, it looks like you guys are winding down, guys. You might get out of here at an actual reasonable time tonight. We're not doing like another 4 hour. You guys are going to be disappointed in me. Let's see what else we have. What else we have here? We have a question about KBG and sod. Greenmates is chiming in. And let's see, 2 shots of vodka. Good to see you in the chat tonight, sir. It says, Ron, running another experiment. I bought a piece of Bermuda sod a few months ago, wrapped it in plastic. Why? Okay, I haven't read the rest of the question, but why are we abusing Bermuda? Like this already sounds like you know, something that's not going to go over with Bermuda. Why are we doing that? But I'll continue. So you wrapped it in plastic, and I put it in the garage. Yesterday, I planted it. 10 hours of sunlight in amazing soil. Let me see. How long did you do that? You said you did it. You bought a piece of Bermuda sod a few months back, wrapped it in plastic, put it in the garage. Yesterday you planted it. We'll see. That's going to be interesting. It hasn't gotten sunlight for several months. It'll be interesting to see. It should be dead. It should be, but we'll see. If any grass, 2 shots of vodka is going to pull it off, it's going to be Bermuda. You know, if anything's going to come back, it's going to be Bermuda. I would be highly surprised if it did, because that's a lot of you know, no sunlight, and it sounds like nothing else, like no sunlight, no water, no nutrients for several months. You know, I don't know. We'll see. I guess wrapping it in plastic probably does help it retain whatever moisture is already in the grass, but I don't know if that's going to bounce back. But definitely let us know. I mean, in the live stream, definitely fill us in with how that develops. And you're saying the goal is to see if it can come back. Very cool. The left tools in the house. We got other YouTube live stream royalties in. Stopping in. He says, hey boys, finally joined. Happy Friday Eve. Thanks for chiming in, Left Tool. I really appreciate it. Hope all is going well. Hopefully you got the Tiffany's. I know you're still working on figuring out what you were going to do in the lawn. I saw you had the little family, little person out there helping you out. I think it was either an Instagram update or YouTube or something like that. So very cool to see that you're making, you're getting going in your lawn and getting the content going. So looking forward to see what you do this season. Thank you for coming to hang out this evening. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Kevin Brewster says, I treated my dollar spots with Pillar G, then added propiconazole 14.3. I will add Scott's EX spray and Bio Advanced Fungicide. I just finished dethatching, got 12 bags next to aeration and soil treatment resod. Sounds like you got a plan worked out, Kevin. Hopefully your program between the Pillar G and then adding another dose of propiconazole will do the trick on the fungicide. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. I think we are winding down, guys. Are we winding down? I don't know. Princess Cut is gone. And then we got Joanne Lampron in the house, my good buddy. She says, I wish Ron was my neighbor. Actually, you want to say that? Because then, I'd have you out like mowing your lawn all the time. I'd have you top dressing. we're doing all this kind of crazy stuff. Sometimes I wonder, I'm not sure if Alex is on the live stream still, but sometimes I wonder if he like says, man, life would have been so much easier if I had a neighbor that didn't like really care about grass, because I wouldn't like have a real mower. I wouldn't be out here like shoveling sand on my lawn for hours on end, for a weekend, every single year. I don't know. You have to be careful what you wish for, Joanne, because we'd be out in the lawn working on it for sure. We would definitely be doing that. All right, let's see what other points we have here. LG is talking to powdery mildew. He's chiming in. He says the main problem with powdery mildew is it prevents the lawn from receiving sunlight. Good point. Rinsing the blades can help, but if fungicides are needed, propiconazole should do the trick. Spoken from a man that definitely knows his fungicides. I've had some conversations with LG, and he definitely knows a thing or two about what fungicides will work on lawns. So very, very good stuff. All right, let's see here. So we have another question about weeds. It's from Rohan. He says, I have some weeds here and there, clover and oxalis, and a bit of young crabgrass. I've been bagging clippings, but do I really need to? Am I spreading the weeds if I don't? Bermuda, height of cut at 0.75 inches with a Greensmaster 1000. So, okay, so one thing I'd ask you, Rohinton, I don't know why I can't say your first name. I apologize, sir. Rohinton, is did we get a spring pre-emergent down? If you haven't, out of the things that you listed there, the crabgrass is probably the thing I'm probably most concerned about. So if you've not put down a spring pre-emergent as yet, maybe like throwing down some dimension, something with dithiopyr in it. Would be a good idea, because that's going to prevent new crabgrass from growing, and it's got a little bit of reach back that should knock out some fairly young crabgrass. So again, I haven't seen whether or not you've done spring pre-emergent as yet, but the crabgrass is the thing that I'm most concerned about. As far as bagging your clippings, if you want to, you can, but I would probably put something down to get rid of the crabgrass if we can, right? Especially since you got young crabgrass, you wanna knock that out sooner than later. You don't want it to get out of hand. It's going to make life a lot worse to deal with if you do that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Kevin says, I'm definitely hooked on Miramichi. I'm glad to hear that, Kevin. It's great stuff, man. I am so, again, I tell the folks at Miramichi Green, thank you. Every time I get a chance to talk with them, it's like for one, taking a chance on DIY and trusting me with their brand to an extent, right? To represent them and to tell you guys about it, because it's such a great product. They make really, really, really great products, and they don't necessarily, their DIY isn't necessarily their forte or their space. So, the fact that they are looking to expand into this with really, really quality products, they put together the carbon kit. And then this month, again, if you guys have not gotten Essential G, it's still on sale. I got word from them that they're going to extend it for 15 more days. They're going to extend the sale for 15 more days. So the price on Essential G is going to remain at that sale price of $54.99 until the middle of next month. So they still do it for 15 more days, and then they will look into to raising the price. Because they really only want to do it as an incentive, but there's been so much good response from it that they decided to extend it for a little bit longer. So if you guys have not gotten your Essential G as yet, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Essential G is this product. It's a great granular carbon product. It's got some silica, compost, biochar, humic acid. It's got all the good stuff, and it's currently on sale for $54.99 on the golf course lawn store. So if you're thinking about getting some granular carbon for your lawn, get it like now, or get it within the next 15 days before they say, okay, Ron, enough. They've gotten it at the discounted price for long enough. Time for it to go back up. So just want to share that. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Cedric says, mad scientist, no questions. However, my wife wanted to talk with you. Hopefully I'm not getting in trouble here. He says, talk with you because everything you suggest I do and purchase for the lawn, I do it. However, whatever she suggests, I do, and I purchase it for her. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna get in the middle of this, Cedric. All I'm gonna say is, happy wife, happy life. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So if you can get your lawn care stuff, which I think you should do, right? And she's cool with that, and you should continue to do that. But make sure you don't neglect what wifey needs. If she wants something nice, go out for dinner or whatever her thing is, make sure we're taking care of that, because you're spending money on lawn care and time on lawn care, and she's allowing you to do that. So that is what I would, just make sure. Happy wife, happy life. That's how I'm going to insert myself into that agreement/disagreement, right? How's that for an answer/non-answer? All right, let's see. John Sigerman Cuck says, thank you for the wonderful QA session. It's a treat for a Friday night. You're very welcome, sir. I'm glad that you're getting some value out of it. All right. So your question you have, a follow-up question, you said I applied Lesco's prodiamine granular early March, but I see some weeds popping up in my lawn. Do I have to worry about that? Should I reapply or should things get better as time goes by? So you applied in early March. So it depends on which weeds we're talking about, John. So some of the weeds you might have, it could be POA. I mean, I'm answering your question as if you were like my neighbor. So you were like in Georgia, you have a warm season lawn, right? So a lot of the lawns in this neighborhood, like you can actually see them. The ones that did not put down pre-emergent in the fall have POA growing in, right? And POA is really a cool season grass that begins to germinate like in the late fall. So even though you're seeing like the weeds now, they started growing, months ago. And if you only put down your pre-emergent in March, it's not going to do anything against weeds that have already germinated. So if you want, John, what you can do is send me a picture of the weed you're dealing with, or if you know what it is, like let me know. Like send me an email here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. That's my email address. Feel free to send it to me and I'll take a look at it and we can figure out a plan of action of how we can deal with it. I would not put down more prodiamine unless when you did it at a lower rate, like you're doing like the split app thing. I would not do that until we've identified what the weed is, because if it's like proana, like I just said, putting down more prodiamine now is not going to do anything for it. Really, you can either use something like Image, you can use Negate to spray it out, or really you can just wait until it gets hotter and then it's going to begin to die off, especially if you're mowing your lawn frequently. So hopefully that helps. Let's hold off on putting down more prodiamine until we know exactly what weed you're dealing with. Great question. Okay, let's see. Brett, I don't understand it. Like, Brett, why is there so much hate in the chat for you, man? There's like so much, like you show up and like there's a deluge of like we must harass Brett that follows you. There's like a virtual black cloud of YouTube I don't know, like trash talk that follows you around. But I think you feed off of it. That's why it's a thing. All right. So next question we have here is Kartith. He says, I think it's more of a comment. He says, hi there, I'm in the Northeast seeing lots of grassy weeds, both POA, I'm not sure what A-N-T, Annua antrivalis, that's what you're saying, okay. I did put down a pre-emergent in the spring, but I missed the fall, also guilty of treating in the fall. Thank you guys. Yeah, so that's cool, man. I mean, no worries. I mean, if you if you want to spray it out now, you can, or just wait and it should, hopefully it should die out. I guess it depends where in the Northeast you are. Kartik, but thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. All right, Rawlings Johnson, great question. He says, how much growth regulator do you, so me, this is Ron, so we want to know, inquiring minds want to know, how much growth regulator do you mix in a 4-gallon backpack sprayer? I always know what the label says, but I want to see what works for you. Also, how fast do you walk? Love this show, by the way. So what I put in my backpack sprayer, I gotta like emphasize myself because you like said, you've said is what the label says. I literally put down, because I have hybrid Bermuda, I go with the 0.38 per ounce rate. So what that really does is that works out to just under 1.6 ounces. So what I put in my sprayer is 1.5 ounces. So I actually go a little bit lower than the rate that I could run given the grass that I have. So anywhere between an ounce, an ounce is the minimum rate or like the low safe rate. If you're not sure what kind of Bermuda you have, literally put down an ounce with 4 gallons of water and spray that over 4,000 square feet, and you're gonna get a great result. As far as how fast I walk, so with the FlowZone Typhoon 2, which is the backpack sprayer that I'm running currently, if I'm running it at the high rate, so the 115 PSI rate, literally it's like a power walk. I am walking as fast as I can. Like literally most people, I should actually do a video of that sometime of actually showing you how fast I'm walking. Like, like literally most people, if they're using a FlowZone and they're applying using that 115 PSI rate, I can guarantee you're over applying. You're probably putting down too much product given the square footage, because like based on my calibration data and also testing I've done, like I've got 12,000 square feet. So really I should be able to finish the entire lawn with 3 tanks, right? 3 fill-ups, so 3 backpack fulls, right? And I literally have to walk as fast as almost like a power walk to get the product down and to get to be to where I'm at the end of that 12,000 square feet and the last bit of product in the backpack sprayer in the tank is running out. So most people, if you have a flow zone and you're running it at the high rate, are walking too slow. So I would almost say go with that, knock it down to the 70 psi rate. And at the 70 psi rate, you have 106 seconds, at least on my sprayer, right? Since we're talking about my sprayer, my calibration testing that I've done. If you run the flow zone at 70 psi, which is the rate for most people probably should use, you have 106 seconds to cover 1,000 square feet, which is a much more reasonable pace. If you are doing the super high rate, you got to be flying, man, to get it down and not over apply. And I follow the rate. I don't go heavier. Actually, to your point, I go a little bit under rate that I could be doing with growth regulator. So growth regulator, herbicides, label is absolute law. With fertilizer, depending on what you're doing and if you're doing spoon feeding and the type of fertilizer you're using, there is a little bit of wiggle room as far as application rates. Again, with me, typically, I go lighter. Like whenever I bias towards anything, even with fertilizer, I tend to go at a lighter rate than I do than heavy. And I don't go heavy because there's really no reason to. All this is cause problems. So yeah. All right. Let's see what other questions. Great question, Rollins. I've never been asked that one before. That's a great question. Go Hard says, how to overcome herbicide damage? Time. Time is really going to be your friend because if you applied herbicide, you went too heavy. There's not a lot you can do. I mean, there may be some chemicals you can use to reverse the effects of some herbicides, but that's for most people. You're not going to have access to that stuff, and it's just going to be a time thing. Unfortunately, it's time. That's why anything with side in it, so herbicide, fungicide, insecticide, follow the rate. Like I cannot stress enough. Like the label is absolutely the law. Like you really got to follow the rate when it comes to herbicide. Because think about it, especially when you're using the big boy herbicides, right? Like, if you're using something that like Negate or Monument or any or Celsius, any of the really more expensive herbicides, like follow the rate because like the manufacturers don't want you to go and buy their super expensive herbicides and put it down and not get a good results, right? So during their testing, they give you a rate that is going to be safe for your lawn. So if you follow that, you're going to get a good result. And you can almost tell how like manufacturers for like a lot of the big box store herbicides, how they just know that people are going to overapply. And they write their labels with that in mind. A good example, take like Image, right? So a bottle of Image, a 24 ounce or a bottle of Image concentrate, on the label it says that bottle covers up to 6,000 square feet, right? But the rate, a lot of times you'll read on there, it says 2.5 ounces per 1,000 square feet. But if you think about it, you do some simple math. There's 24 fluid ounces in this bottle, which really means the max rate for, I think amazicillin, whatever the active ingredient in Image is, really is 4 ounces per 1,000, not 2.5. But perhaps they have enough knowledge to know that, hey, you know what? If we tell people 2.5, they're going to add more anyway, and we know that 4 is like the safe limit. Like that's where you really need to be, like no more than that. And they write their labels accordingly. But when you get into the big boy herbicides, they assume that you are going to follow the rate. But I mean, I say all that to say, go hard. That it's just going to be time, unfortunately, man. I don't have a better answer for you. I'm sorry that you're dealing with like damage in your lawn, but just time. Time, watering, mowing, and the lawn will bounce back. All right, let's see what else we have going on here. And you said Go Hard says, how do I fix herbicide damage? I have yellowing going on in spots. Just time and mowing. I mean, depending on how bad it is, you can put down a nice layer of like some carbonized PN or some other rich compost or something to kind of like to help feed the soil in that area to stimulate some new growth. But it still boils down to time, really. All right. Jeremy White says, when should I stop using the 1824-12, which is a starter fertilizer? Depending, I'm assuming you have a phosphorus deficiency if you're using that one, Jeremy. So I would do like, let's do like 3 applications, 3 months worth. And then the next time you soil test, let's see where things have moved, right? If you want to do like 3 applications of it and then switch to something like Humic Max for the rest of the season, because phosphorus, again, I'm assuming you're treating a phosphorus deficiency. Unlike the other macros, it doesn't go away as quickly as like nitrogen or potassium, right? So do like 3 apps, so 3 months worth, and then switch to something else if you want to, and then soil test in the fall, and we can see how the phosphorus levels have moved, and then adjust accordingly. Great question. All right. Let's see what else we have here. I think we are running low. So you got some questions here. So August Gronis says, my camera is a Galaxy S20 LOL. No, listen, no hate, guys. I'm telling you, listen, I know there's some questions in here about like, the nice cameras. And it's true, like nicer cameras do produce better pictures, but literally all my footage on all my content, literally everything that was shot on my channel was shot on an iPhone, literally not this iPhone, but like an iPhone, up until like August of last year. So I will tell you that a camera is really good. It definitely makes good content better. But if there's one thing that you have to get right is good audio. Like people will put up with like not so great video, assuming it's at least as long as it's in focus, right? They don't really care. They don't really care about color grading and that it's in 4K or any of that stuff. Most people really don't care. But if you have bad audio, people will go away very quickly for that. So use your S20. But invest in like maybe like a separate microphone, like the Wireless Go or something like that, like something like a really good, like a good lav if you're doing like outdoor vlogging content. Like that is something that's good to do because good audio is more important than video. People will put up with that a lot better. So great point, August. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope everything's going well for you guys. I think you're in North Carolina these days, so thanks for chiming in the live stream. All right. BA Ames says, I put down Carbon Pro G instead of iron, especially if your test shows high iron. Anyway, that's a good point too, because Carbon Pro G, I mean, the compost that's in it definitely is going to help with the green up. Like if you want to see that, go to my YouTube channel and do Carbon Pro G, Google like a Ron Henry Carbon Pro G results. And there's a video that I did where I did a 2-week test of applying Carbon Pro G to a section of my lawn, doing nothing else different. So like not more watering, no extra fertilizer, nothing like that. And you can see the results of it. Literally, it took like one of the worst looking parts of my lawn and produced like a really deep, like a gorgeous color in it. So BA Ames is right. I mean, that's a good point. You don't add more iron. Literally, you can put some Carbon Pro G down, and that's going to help. That's going to help the lawn get greener. It really is. It's a great product. And then you're not going to run into problems potentially with iron toxicity. All right, let's see. So Rohinton has a follow-up question. He says, if each of you were to get another reel mower in addition to the one into your Owlet or the GM1600 respectively, which reel mower would you get? That's a good question. What would I get? Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what I would get. Maybe something that's like a multi-tool, so like a Swordman or an Owlet probably makes the most sense. I think that probably makes the most sense is probably what I would go with. Probably one of the mowers that can do it's like a combi tool, right? That you can cut grass with it, you can dethatch with it, you can do a lot of things with it, scarify. Same thing as dethatching, but yeah, I would probably go with something like that as like a filler mower because I already have a true cut. I've already got like what I think is a really good mower, which is the 1600. So I don't really need anything that's going to produce an amazing cut because I already got something that does that. But having a mower that's like a multi-tool that can do it all would probably be something that would make sense on top of what I'm already doing. So Owlet or Swordman, one of those two. All right, let's see. Brett is chiming out. He's got to run. Thanks for chiming in, Brett. We appreciate it. And I think we are winding down. I'm going to see what else we got going on. Eric Garcia, what's going on, Eric? He says, is it crazy to level more than once per season? And it's triple 12 okay the same day you level your lawn? Is it crazy? Probably. Have I done it? Yeah. Like last season, we did it twice. Like last season, I leveled my lawn twice. Once earlier in the season, just doing it manually with top dressing, and the second time when we did Alex's lawn. So yes, it is crazy to do. It's a lot of work, but you absolutely can do it, no problem. And then at triple 12, okay to apply the same day? Absolutely. It's perfectly fine to do that. So what I would do if you're going to use a triple 12 is to, if you're aerate the lawn, then apply the triple 12 and then top dress. So aerate, fertilizer, top dress. If you're not aerating, just fertilizer, top dress. That would be the sequence that I would use. Great question. And you can do that. Really, I'd say every 6 to 8 weeks, you could top dress again if you wanted to. Assuming you're going light, once the lawn recovers, you can absolutely go again. I think you could probably get away with 3 weeks or no, 3 weeks, 3 top dressings per season. Like if you did one now, you could do another one in June, and you could do another one like in late July, early August, and that would be just fine. But yeah, it just depends on how much pain you're willing to subject yourself to. And Windshirt makes a good point. Hydrotain will help with keeping new seed moist. I did use some Hydrotain on the front lawn, and the germination was really good from that. So yeah, there is something definitely to using Hydrotain on the lawn. That is going to be going down on the back lawn here soon as well tomorrow. So great point, Wind Chariot. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's see what other questions we have here. And then Torrance Smith, senior, is saying, I'm going to level my lawn. Last year I used a 70-30 mix, which was good. This year I'm debating on sand or 70-30 mix because I want to overseed with R50. Some advice. Okay. So if you're going to overseed with R50, and so if me always telling most people that you probably don't want to do that because it takes a tremendous amount of water, which AKA a really expensive water bill to pull this off. But let's say you have, like, you got a Tifway lawn, and you want to do Arden, so the two grasses are going to look reasonable together. Out of those two, I would do the 70-30. Because you do want to like introduce some organic material, because what again, hypothetically speaking, if I were to overseed my lawn with R15 after top dressing it, if we're going to do that, I'm not saying I am, but if I were to do that, 70-30 mix would make a lot of sense, because then I could simply top dress the lawn, put the seed down, and then just simply, it's already got a lot of sand on the surface, simply just drag that in, and that's going to do a lot to just cover up the seed just barely, and then water it, and I should get really good germination. That's what I did last year, and it worked really well. So to answer your question, Torrance, 70-30 mix is what I would roll with. I would not do 100% sand if seeding is something you're definitely going to do this year. Great question. Let's see what other questions we got here. And then Bree Brown says, thank you for recommending the Taliprid mole bait during your live stream. I treated my lawn with this according to the directions on the package, and there's no new activity. Thank you, Ron. You are very welcome. I'm glad that it was helpful, that it helped you get rid of the mole problems. I mean, great for you, not so great for the moles, but I'm glad that you got a good result with it. Again, I've never had to deal with moles in my lawn, but I just simply did the research based on what you guys were saying, and that's the one that got really, really good reviews. So I'm glad to hear that it worked well on your lawn. So awesome. Timothy Wolf, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming to hang out, Timothy. Always good to hear from you. He says, I came in late. Happy Friday. My question about seed heads, Dallas, Texas. I'm seeing a lot of seed heads and not sure why. It's in the 70s to 80s. Humic max is awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying the fertilizer. Thank you so much for that, sir. Appreciate the support. And as far as seed heads, again, it's a stress response, right? So if your temps are getting up there, which they are in the 70s and 80s, that's going to be a thing. So couple things you can do is just wait. Typically in a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, like they should become less of a thing. Or if your grass is already growing well, so you got like you're pretty much greened up, doing a little bit of PGR, a little like TNX on your lawn, that can be something that can work well too. That does help with like some seed head suppression if you wanna do that, Timothy Wolf. So just depends on what you're after. I get seed heads every year, and it's typically a 2-week problem. So no worries there. Great question. Hope that everything else is going well. All right, let's see what else we have here. Torrance was saying, I'm going to oversee next month. Love the color, and it's better grass, way better than the Bermuda Seed they put down. As long as it's a Tifway or something that's compatible, Torrance, where the grain is similar. Yeah, and again, you're willing to subject yourself to a really expensive water bill, then yeah, I mean, go for it if you want. It's a fun project. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's just know what you're getting into. All right, let's see. Brian Carr said, thanks, Ron. I'm dominating my neighbors, and I love it. Well, that's cool, Brian. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you are getting good results with the advice from the channel and the content. Thanks for watching. Let's see. And then the CP artist says, how often do I fertilize my Bermuda? I used 2905 Stay Green yesterday. I'm not familiar with that fertilizer, CP artist, so I can't tell you for sure. Like, I don't know what rate at this cadence, at this rate, is going to yield a good result. So sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. If you want, send me an email here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll look into that product, and I'll be able to tell you like what I would do based on that after the live stream. I'll take a look into it, and I'll tell you what I would do, like how often I would apply that. The label should say, right? The label should say, but I can give you my thoughts on it if you like. If you just shoot me an email there. Thanks for that. All right. Transit Supply LLC said, ordered Turfplex from the lawn store, and the application rate on the label had a typo. Yes, exactly. Some labels went out that were wrong. And it said 0.25 ounces versus 6 ounces. I had to deep dive the net to see the correct rate and reapply. Yeah. I want to say that on the Golf Course Lawn store, I have the correct rate listed there. Let me make sure. I think I put the label on the store that is correct. Let me look here. Yes, it is right. So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn store and look at Turfplex there, I did go to BioPro's website and download the corrected label, and that is what's on the store. So you see 6 ounces per thousand as the low rate. That's what I roll with on my lawn. But there are some labels that went out with a 0.25 ounce rate, but I mean, I think they've since corrected that. My apologies. I know I think they're aware of it. They corrected it, and the correct rate is posted on BioPro's website, and it's also I also got it corrected on the Golf Course Lawn store. So if you look at the label on the store, they should all be correct. If they're not, let me know and I'll fix them, but they should all be the correct rates. Thanks for letting me know, Transit Supply LLC, and I'm sorry you had to go out and apply again, but hey, you have to go spray your lawn again, right? That's always fun, I guess, outside of the time. Thanks for bringing that up for anyone else that may have had not the incorrect label. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. I think I have a super chat in here. So super chat from LG.
Super chat received.
And he says, Ron Henry is the real deal. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, thank you so much. And then a super chat from Cheryl. She says, sending a little support, but can't say, well, I appreciate it, Cheryl. Thank you for I will call it donate and dash. So thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate the support, as always. All right, let's see what other questions we've got going on here. I got to scroll back up and find where I was. Let's see. S says, what is a good pre-emergent for Bermuda? Everything I put down doesn't work. I put down Scott's pre-emergent and have so many weeds and crabgrass now. LOL. Thanks, Shirley. I'm sorry, Shirley, that you're dealing with that, unfortunately. For Bermuda, 2 good pre-emergents. Probably the most common one is one that's called prodiamine. Now, you can get that in a liquid and a granular form. And if you're new to putting down pre-emergent, I'm going to say probably go for the granular. As far as value for money, you get more out of the liquid, but that means like having a backpack sprayer or having a sprayer of some sort. You have to have a scale to weigh it properly, mix it properly. You got to have the right PPEs. You got to wear gloves, the proper protection. So for someone that is new, if you want a good pre-emergent to put down, the one I would roll with, I'm not sure what you've tried. I'm not sure what the Scott pre-emergent that you applied, but this one is a good choice. Let me get here. The Yard Mastery, the 007. This is a great pre-emergent. It's got prodiamine in it, super easy to apply. And it also has 7% potassium, so you get a little bit of green up out of it too, right? It does help produce a little bit of green in the lawn. That is what I would probably use. That's what I would go with. And here's the thing: we are like quickly entering into the point where you need to get that done. If you've not put down a pre-emergent yet, like you got that, like that should be your weekend project. Like tomorrow, order this and get it down. Or Lesco, I think, makes a comparable product like a 007, or Sunnyland makes a comparable 007 product. I think Sunnyland actually makes this for yard mastering. If you can get like if you go to like your big box store or Site One, or if you order it from the Golf Course Lawn store, again, you can get that here. I'd appreciate the support, obviously. But if you want something to apply this weekend, if you can go to like your Home Depot or a big box store and you look for like Lesco 007 or a Sunnyland 007, and what you're looking for is one that has, when you look at the label, you want one that has the active ingredient in it being prodiamine. That you want to get that down on your lawn like this weekend, sooner than later, and that will help with preventing some weeds. Now, if the thing you're really trying to prevent is crabgrass, like this will work for crabgrass, but a better option for crabgrass is a pre-emergent called that has dithiopyr in it. So an easy to apply version of that, if I can pull it up here, is you can also get this at one of the big box stores. It's from Spectracide, and it's their Weed Stop in a granular. Let me see if I can find it, if I can pull that up. Let's see, always fun to do this live, and not that one, but this one. Here we go. Yep. Okay, so so when you go to say Home Depot or Walmart or wherever you're gonna go to tomorrow to get this, you're gonna wanna get a bag that looks like this. So Spectracide Weed Stop for crabgrass, this one has that active ingredient in it, dithiopyr, that I'm telling you about, that does really well at stopping new crabgrass growth. And if you have some baby crabgrass that's coming through, this can also knock that back too. Now here's the trick, okay? Here's the thing we gotta do. Here's the thing you must pay attention to, super important, all right? If you decide to go with the Weed Stop, if you're gonna go pick that up tomorrow, you need to apply this when the lawn is wet. So 2 options. You can either go to super early in the morning and go grab it, and when there's still dew on the lawn, put this down, or you can water your lawn if you have irrigation. Run irrigation for like 2-3 minutes, just a short time, just to wet the grass, wet everything, and then apply this. One bag of that weed stop product. This one covers, I think it's 3,000 square feet is what this will cover. So you'll know how many bags you need to buy based on that, but you'll apply it to wet grass, right? You'll apply it to that, and then keep like fur babies and kids off the lawn. Really, just to be super safe, wait till the next day, but really until it dries. But if you want to be safe, don't let anyone on the lawn until the following day, and that will produce some pretty good results as far as taking care of crabgrass, killing a lot of weeds. And then you should be good to go. That is what I would use for someone that's new and doesn't want to get into using the liquid products that you have to mix up, and actually be very, very careful when you're using them to get a good result. So thanks for the question. I'm sorry you're not having great results with the Scottish pre-emergent. I'm not sure which one you're using, but try out that Spectracide weed stop. I think you'll like the results you get with it. This big thing is, the most important thing is, like I said, the grass has to be wet when you put that down, okay? Grass has got to be wet when you apply it, or it's not going to work well. You got to make sure the lawn is wet when you apply that. Great question. Thank you so much for chiming in and for watching the live stream. All right, Don F says, love your videos. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking some time to hang out. All right, let's see. What else we have here? Helmet Ruckus says, isn't any of you guys bothered by topsoil companies putting in way too much wood chips? I feel cheated for the bucks I spend on it. Can we not do anything as a DIY community about it? Yeah, you can. You just got to buy better topsoil. You got to buy a better product, right? So the thing that I linked in the chat, Helmet Ruckus, like if you go get the Soil 3, I'll put it up there again. I think I've still got it here. Yeah, so this one, if like this product from Super Sod, this stuff is not going to have any trash in it. It's not going to have any wood chips. It's not going to have any garbage in it, because literally I just put some of it down on my lawn today. It's really, really good stuff. But it's going to be a little bit more expensive, right? So it's kind of like anything else. You want something that's really good, not going to be cheap. But if you're going to get it, I've got a link here that you can use for picking that up. ron-henry.com/top dressing. That will take you to their site where you can get that. And that product, if you are looking for like a really rich organic material to put on your lawn, that's really good for top dressing, that would be a good choice. I think you can get like a ton of it, like 2,000 pounds of it delivered for, I think delivered for a couple $100. So not cheap, but it is the good stuff. It is that what you'd want to be using on your lawn in bulk, and you can get it delivered to your door. So it's a great question. All right. Let's see what else we have going on here. Let's see, for high spots, a question. Actually, one more thing I didn't say. Shirley, whenever you're applying that weed stop, that granular, one thing I want you to do as well is to make sure you are eye pro. Make sure you put eye protection on. Again, even though it's a granular, you technically don't have to do it. You just protect your eyes. If you're applying it, it's a little bit windy or whatever. You want to make sure you don't get anything in your eyes. So if you got like glasses, you can wear that. But if you get like a good set of safety glasses like these, do that as well too. So something I didn't mention that I should have when I just told you about it there. All right. JK has a question. He says, for high spots, would aerating the high spots heavily cause the ground to sink a little bit? A little bit. I mean, you're right. I mean, if you take it, here's the thing, JK. Yeah, if you aerate the high spots a ton, you are removing density from it. So if you were then to roll over it or step on it or mash it down, you are going to get it to sink some. It's probably not going to be as much as you're thinking. So it depends on how high of a high spot we're talking about here. But yeah, I mean, your logic makes sense. And if it's a mildly high spot, it's something you could do. But yeah. I mean, it's not something I would do for a really big one. So I guess the best way to answer your question is it's hard to say. It's hard to say what kind of results you would get. All right. Great question. Christian says, thank you so much, Ron, for the help. You and the Lawn Care Nut help so much. We appreciate you watching. And let's see, what other questions we have here? And Eric says, is there a granular post-emergent for grassy weeds? Yeah, the one I just linked to, I was telling Shirley about Eric Garcia, that weed stop, the Spectracide weed stop, this guy right here, that one is what you can use for weeds. It kills a ton of weeds, like 200 weeds as that one does. The spray, which is not a granular, obviously, kills a whole lot more, but this one will do quite a few weeds. So just check the label, because they do a pretty good job listing what weeds it controls. So look at that, and it'll let you know if that one will do a good job for you. Let's see. Dimitri says, any advice on killing common Bermuda in Zeon Zoysia? Not really. I can't think of anything that we could apply to Bermuda that would not kill Zoysia or hurt the Zoysia at the very least. And because you're trying to kill the more dominant of the two grasses, it makes me less leery to recommend anything. There's nothing I can really think of that you could use really, Dimitri. Unfortunately, there might be something, but I'm not actually sure on that one. If someone else knows, feel free to chime in. I'm not sure on that one. I'd be afraid to recommend something because I know Zoysia is really sensitive, and any herbicide you put down that's going to hurt Bermuda is probably going to hurt Zoysia as well too. All right. Let's see. Dean says hybrid Bermuda grass seed has are sterile, correct? Yeah, I believe that's correct, Dean. But it's still a stress response. But yes, yeah, I believe you are correct about that. Sudra Malhotra says, "Hey Ron, how's Tony's lawn doing? I haven't been over there to look, but I saw Tony today, and he's not been keeping up with his mowing. He's been cycling a whole lot, so I imagine not good. I haven't seen it myself, but I'm gonna imagine not good. He hasn't been mowing a ton like he was last season." And let's see. CP Allet says, "Fertilizer or weed and feed Bermuda?" It depends on what you're trying to do. If you have a ton of weeds in your lawn, and honestly, if it were me, here's what I would do. If it were me and I had a lawn that was full of weeds, I would do herbicide separate and I would do fertilizer separate. I would do like the fertilizer of choice, whatever fertilizer you need for your lawn. And the best way to figure that out is to do a soil test. So if you have not yet gotten a soil test done, CP the artist, the soil test that I like is this one. It's from My Soil. They are super easy to use, super fast. You literally will get the samples, mail this out within a week. You're going to get your results back. And that's going to answer the first question, which is which fertilizer should we use on our lawn? So get a soil test done. As far as how to treat the weeds, I would use like that liquid Spectracide product for most warm season lawns. You got like Bermuda, so it's perfect for that. Like Spectracide, this product here, if I can go back and I'll show you what it looks like. This guy here, the orange bottle, orange label, this one is like treats up to 470 weeds, and like this is how I would deal with weeds in my lawn. In other words, if you had like a lawn with a ton of weeds on it and you want to get rid of it, I would probably still not go for weed and feed. I would go with the Spectracide because it's a liquid, so it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more effective as far as like being absorbed and taken up by the weed plant. Like using the granular weed stop that I was recommending to Shirley. That can work, but again, you have to make sure the grass is wet and you're relying on it sticking to the grass to work well. So I would get a soil test done. Based on the soil test, choose your fertilizer of choice, and then to get rid of the weeds, I would use something like Spectracide. And if you're interested, shameless plug, I recently did a video on the channel, like the newest video on my channel actually discusses that particular product and why you should actually consider using it as a herbicide for people that are just, they're getting into lawn care or trying to get the weeds under control in their lawn. Great question. All right. JK, see, you know what? I feel like this is a troll comment, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I feel like you're messing with me, JK, but I'm still going to bring your comment up. He says, new to using a greens mower, and I'm afraid to damage the reel on concrete. How do you mow along the sidewalk? If the grass is above the concrete, is it okay to have part of the roller over the sidewalk? Okay, so it's not a troll comment. I thought you were tugging at my heart from the pain I had with damaging my greens mower. So yes, if the sidewalk is higher, if the sidewalk is lower, not higher, if the sidewalk is lower than the grass, you absolutely can have part of the roller overhang. Because I do that like when I mowed yesterday. I didn't mow today, but I mowed yesterday. When I mow the patio area, that is what I do. Literally, like I'll have 2 inches or so of the mower. Like say if this is the soil test kit is the grass and this is my patio. My patio is literally like this height, like about like that, and the grass is up here. So literally part of the mower can actually hang off and not get anywhere near the patio. And it's a great way to get a great cut. But you definitely want to make sure that the grass is higher. The grass even if it were even, I don't know if I would try that. But if it's higher, it's definitely higher, then yeah, you can do that with no problem. I do it all the time. There's no issues whatsoever, but just as always, be careful, right? Because I can tell you that if you get the reel and bed knife into some concrete, concrete will win, the reel and bed knife will lose. Great question. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Rawlings Johnson says, second question, I'm leveling next weekend. Didn't you want to come over and assist Ron? Great, see you 8 a.m. next Saturday. You're the best. No, man, I think after this leveling project, I'm going to be good on leveling for this season. I got it done early in the season. So one, you guys have some cool content to see, like how I'm doing it. Something cool for you guys to watch. But I think I'm done with leveling outside of maybe some spot leveling here and there for this season. I'm not going to do another major leveling. I say that, right? At this point, this season. I don't think so anyway. I don't think so. Might change, but I don't think so. All right, D Dom says, I sent my soil test review this week, and thank you for the information you provided once again. I'll be working on the lawn this weekend. You're very welcome, sir. Happy to help out. Thanks for sending me the results, and glad that it was useful. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. I'm gonna have to look at the product here. I can tell you already. Will Dog Hot Heel he says, Ron, your opinion on 1836 of 50% slow release nitrogen liquid as a spoon feeding every other week. Probably okay. I'm using a 16016 granular monthly per soil test, which suggests 1 pound of each N and K, and I'm good on P. Okay, so yeah, so no, I don't like that. So if we're going to run the 16016, you need to back, and again, this is why people think that I only do that video on just Humic Max and the Turfplex because I'm trying to be a pain. But like, this is why like I only talk about those two products, because you need to, if you're going to be spoon feeding, you're going to be mixing liquid and granular, you have to back the rate down on both of them. Like you can't apply the granular at the monthly rate and apply the liquid at the monthly rate, because essentially you're putting down like the 2-month rate in 1 month. It's going to cause problems, right? So for Bermuda, I like to run around between 0.5 pound to 0.7, 0.8 maybe per month. Like that's a nice happy medium where my grass is nice and green. I get good growth, and I'm not producing a ton of top growth, which creates a headache. I don't run 1 pound of nitrogen on my lawn every single month. I don't need to do it. Like, I mean, based on like the liquid fert that I'm using, and then the fact that I'm also using the carbon kit, which again, it helps me get more out of any liquid product that I apply to the lawn. I'm able to get away with putting down less nitrogen per rate, but the result is still very good. Like the grass still looks really good with actually putting less nitrogen into the turf. So, what you're saying at a high level can work, but you're going to have to reduce the rates. You got to run the slow release nitrogen, the liquid at a lower rate, and you got to run the granular at a lower rate. You can't run them both at like bag rate, because you're going to be going down too heavy. If you want to see what that's like, or like how you figure out the calculus on that, check out the video that I did. There's a video of me. The thumbnail looks like I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, like it has this 2 fertilizers in it. And it's around spoon feeding. So like it's a video I released recently. Like go to YouTube and type like Ron Henry spoon feeding, and this video should come up. It should be one that was released a couple of weeks ago, and it'll break down exactly how I do it. It's like a 3-minute video. If you got 3 minutes, I made it as short as I could. If you got 3 minutes, that will tell you like how I do spoon feeding, mixing a granular and a liquid. And the in a nutshell, you have to reduce the rates on both of them to not cause problems. So hopefully that helps. At a high level, what you're looking at looks like it could work, but you got to go lower on the rates. Okay, and Russ says, any advice on controlling or killing Bermuda mites? I've never dealt with that, Russ. I'll have to look into that one. I don't know on that one. Question for next week. Let me take a screenshot of it so I make sure I get your question answered. I don't know on that one. I've never had to deal with Bermuda mites. I'm not sure. I don't know if a Celiprin will take care of that. It's a good question. I don't know for sure, but I will answer that for you next week. All right, let's see what else we got here. Jeff Ho from South Carolina. He says, I'm on the Get Sunday lawn care program. I know what that is now. I didn't know before. It's where they send you the little box of like a care package for your lawn, right? And I'm continuing the Carbon Pro G regimen. What are your thoughts on the Get Sunday lawn care program? Thank you for everything you do and continue to do. Here's the thing. I hate to talk about products positive or negative that I've not used before. Like I don't like to do that. Here's the thing I will say. Some people use it and they seem to get good results with it. So look at the reviews. If people are using it and they're getting good results, it might be worth a shot. I think that if you're already doing Carbon Pro G, like if you're already that like down, if you're at the point where you're putting down like granular carbon on your lawn, right? You're not the typical lawn care person. So if you're good with doing that, you're probably good with doing like doing your own fertilization program, right? You can probably pick out your own fertilizer. You can probably pick out your own liquid. Now the only thing we have to figure out is whether or not you feel comfortable or even have the desire to use a backpack sprayer. Because if you use a backpack sprayer, like the world of liquids open up to you, and then we can do some really cool stuff. But even without doing liquids, if you're putting down Carbon Pro G, meaning you already have like a broadcast spreader, you can get a great lawn without, being spoon fed. I don't know if Get Sunday, if they soil test before they send you what's in the kit. I don't know if that's part of it, but if they don't, what you can do, Jeff Ho, is get a soil test done. My Soil makes a great one, and I have it on the golf course lawn store right here. You can pick that up. Get a soil test done, and that's going to give you the answers to the test. It's going to tell you exactly what kind of fertilizer or any other products you should be applying to your lawn. And because you already got a spreader, you can use your same spreader to apply fertilizer, right? That is what I would do. If you want my opinion, I'm not, again, throwing shade at Get Sunday, but I mean, if you're already using Carbon Pro G, you're already kind of in the game anyway. So why not do your own fertilizer and probably get a better result, especially if you choose a fertilizer based on soil test results. So that's my answer, my non-answer answer. All right. Great question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. All right. Kevin Brewster says, I have a salad bar in the backyard. Any suggestion on killing weeds, broadleaf, crabgrass, and getting soil from hard clay to topsoil ready? Yeah. So I would go with with that product that I mentioned in the video, Kevin Brewster. I can dig it up here and I'll just link it in the chat to you. I should be able to find it. Yep. Here we go. I can do this. I can multitask, you guys. Not normally very good at it, but yeah. So this video, which I'm going to link in chat right now, literally has the product that you should use on, assuming you have Bermuda, you have a warm season lawn, not St. Augustine, like Bermuda or Zoysia, this will work well. So at Kevin Brewster, this guy, that video, watch that video. It'll talk to you about the product that I'd recommend. Use that at rate, like apply it properly. And that should help knock back the crabgrass and knock back all the broadleafs you're dealing with. And then as far as getting the soil from hard clay to reasonable, if either you aerate the lawn or pay a service to aerate the lawn, that will help with breaking up compaction. And then if you're really hardcore, man, top dressing is going to do a lot for it. If you want to transform a hard clay soil into something that's less hard clay and terrible to work with, top dressing is a great option. But I mean, again, I realize that I'm taking you down a bigger project, a lot more expense, but that is the way to really improve, clay soil. It's going to improve drainage and tons of other benefits. But that's what I would use. Use the fertilizer or the herbicide that's in that video that is linked to you. And then consider at a minimum aerating your lawn. And if you really want the best result, consider top dressing it. Great question, Kevin. Thank you so much for reaching out. Daniel says, I miscalibrated and oversprayed with prodiamine. I sprayed in February. Will it slow down spring green up? It could. It could, Daniel. It depends on how heavy you went, how much over you went. It could, but I mean, if it's Bermuda, it's probably going to be okay. But yeah, it very well could slow down green up. It could prevent, any runners from tacking nicely. I mean, it could cause problems, but it just all depends on how heavy. I mean, did you go 10% over? Did you go double rate? Did you double the rate? If you went double the rate, it's probably going to introduce some issues. If you just went a slightly over, you're probably going to be okay. So it depends on how heavy over you went. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. A-Fall Garage says, hey, Ron, just bought a new house. Congrats, sir. Poorly kept before. Now cut with a Swordman, but have bare spots. Do I pump with nitrogen or just wait for that GA heat? I would not just pump with nitrogen. What I would do is, I'm going to start to sound like a broken record in the live stream, is I would get a soil test done. I would pick up one of these guys, get a soil test, and that's going to tell you what is broken in the soil, if anything. Whether you need to put down lime, you probably will need to put down lime, but whether you need to apply lime to your lawn and what fertilizer we should be using on your lawn. And then we'd apply that at the proper rate and then just start mowing. You got a Swordman, so you got a great mower, just get out there. If you can get out there twice a week and mow, and you can apply the correct fertilizer or the optimal fertilizer for your soil type, you're going to get a good result. So that is what I would do. I would not just slam the lawn with a bunch of nitrogen. I mean, you can do that and the grass is going to grow, but I mean, if you're asking me, I like to do things in a way that One is not going to damage your grass and is going to produce optimal results with the minimum amount of inputs as possible. So I don't want you to put a ton of nitrogen at the lawn and try and get it to turn green, because you're really getting a good result the wrong way, or the less than optimal way, I should say, right? So no, let's not do that. Let's not pump up the nitrogen. Get a soil test done. Pick up one of these guys. You can get it at the golf course lawn store right here. And then if you want help, once you get the soil test results back, feel free to email me, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll look over them and I'll get you the fertilizer that we should probably be using for your lawn. Great question. All right. Ryan Pound says, when would you suggest pre-emergent to prevent POA? I'm in Northwest Georgia. So in the fall, Ryan. So in the fall is when you put down pre-emergent to prevent poanua. So if you want to put down prodiamine, if you want to put down dimension, if you're really a baller and you want to put down like tribute total, something like that, that would work well. What I saw some research, and I forget the gentleman's name. He's like a professor of agronomics. And he spoke about the results of using tribute total, of using prodiamine, and then he also talked about this herbicide called Coastal, which has prodiamine in it, and it has 2 other post-emergents. And the trick that he showed was applying that in November, which is later than most people apply their fall pre-emergent, yielded really good results in the spring. It didn't hurt anything with like the green up for the Bermuda, but there was no POA in the test plots they were working with. But so that's an option. But the thing is, with Coastal, it's pretty expensive. Like, you're going to pay a lot of money for it, unfortunately. But the time to prevent POA is in the fall. So whatever pre-emergent you decide you're going to use, whether it's like Dimension, like a dithiopyr, or you're going to use prodiamine, the fall is when you'd want to do that. And again, if you got the money and you want something really nice, go with like Tribute Total, or go with like that Coastal product I was telling you about. Like that's like a mix. It's got pre-emergent and got some post-emergent in it. That you should get good results with. Great question, Ryan. Thank you for chiming in. All right, let's see what are the other questions here, guys. You're running out of time. I got to get to bed here soon, guys, because I got to wake up super early. Like, Alex is gonna. Here's the things you guys don't realize, is that I am finishing up my lawn, but tomorrow, and I can trust you guys. This. How many we got? We got 97 people on here. Don't go blasting this all over the internet, because it's still kind of a secret. But tomorrow we're also going to be top dressing Alex's lawn too. So the 97 of you that are on here know something that no one else knows, right? So very cool. So I got a big day tomorrow. Should be fun. A lot of sand is going to be flying. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. We are chiming. We're winding down. Greg Lyons says, any issues with constantly scalping each week? Yeah, I wouldn't do that, Greg. He says, I'm trying to get all the dead grass and thatch out of my lawn. I will raise my height of cut from 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. I wouldn't scalp every week, Greg. Like if you're bagging the clippings, like if you're collecting the clippings, you really shouldn't have to. So what I might do is I would scalp. You can do a scalp now if you want, no problem with that. And then maybe get like a dethatcher or a power rake, something like that, to kind of any clippings that you didn't collect, that you didn't pick up, use that to kind of pick those up. And that I would call it good at that point. I would say you're good. If you do a good scalp and then dethatch, so you get a lot of the trash that's in the lawn out of it, you should be good to go at that point. I wouldn't like scalp your lawn every week. I mean, here's the thing, technically, right? If you're gonna scalp your lawn, if you cut your lawn at 1/2 inch every week, you're technically just cutting the lawn at 1/2 inch. You're not really scalping it each week. But I wouldn't keep knocking the grass down below the height of cut that you plan to run throughout the entire season as a way to eliminate thatch and dead grass in the lawn. I would scalp it, and then if you still have a lot of the clippings that you didn't get out when you were scalping it, I would use like a power rake or dethatcher, catch all those clippings, and then once you do that, I would call it good and just and go to town. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Yes, thatch gets a bad name, but you do want a little bit of thatch in the lawn, right? You don't want you don't want like a ton of thatch where it's spongy, but a little bit of thatch is a good thing, right? So just something to consider. Let's see what other questions you have here. Tony Valdez says, hey, Ron, I heard you can use Roundup at low rates as PGRs. Is true, or am I being punked? I wouldn't do that, Tony. I mean, technically, can you do it? Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. The response varies between different grass types, and As far as a census on a rate that is going to be absolutely safe, that's where the problem you're getting into. So I know the person you're talking about, or the people that you're talking about that are recommending doing that. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't use glyphosate as growth regulator. Like, use T-Nex. Like, that is what it's designed for. And even though glyphosate can technically serve as one, like, T-Nex for most people is going to be a lot safer. Like, here's the thing. T-Nex it's hard enough getting people to apply T-Nex at 1/4 of an ounce per 1,000, which is label rate, right? I imagine if you use glyphosate as a PGR, you're going to be applying it probably at a rate lower than that. I haven't actually looked at the label to know for sure, but I imagine it's probably less than that. So most people that try and pull that off are probably going to go heavy and end up damaging their lawn. So I would ignore that advice. I would use a proper, like a growth regulator that has a little bit more leeway, a little bit more tolerance, like T-Nex. And do that. So yeah, I would not follow that advice. Let's see. We have Greg Lyons says, what are your thoughts as using chicken feed as an organic fertilizer? I've never done it, but some people do that and they like it, Greg. So it depends. I've never used it as a fertilizer, so I can't say for sure, but I know it's not like it's not snake oil. It is a thing. People do that and they get good results with it. I just never done it to be able to tell you what that would, what to expect. All right. Alan Kripe says, I have some bare spots in my yard, maybe winter dead spot, quite possibly, or spring dead spot, could be, yeah. Can T-Nex PGR help spreading and filling that in? Not really. I mean, the big thing that's going to help with that, Alan, is just, it's mainly a time thing, right? So if you don't have an active fungus problem that's continuing to keep that spot in your lawn dead, it eventually, if you're dealing with Bermuda anyway, eventually it's going to grow in. It's going to fill in those bare spots. And then what else could we do? T-Nex, using T-Nex or PGR as a means to do that? Not really something that I would do. I would say pick up your mowing frequency. Like on the dead spots, if we can get down some like some rich organic material, like some topsoil or carbonized PN, something like that in there, that can help. But then also picking up your mowing frequency and keeping the grass short is going to encourage that lateral growth. It's going to help those bare spots, depending on how big they are, to fill in. If we're dealing with a bigger bare spot, that's when plugging might be a better option to speed that up. But typically with just heat and regular mowing, you can knock that out. So yeah, I would, you can apply PGR if you want. It's not gonna hurt anything, but it's not like, I don't put it down thinking that this is going to now make my bare spots fill in that much faster. I mean, it's gonna help some, but it's not like it's gonna be a silver bullet, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Troy Ridley has a question about mowing wild grass from Texas. He says, hello from Texas. Hello. He says, raining 8 days in a row. Wow, that's a lot of rain. Bermuda is growing too tall. It happens every April. I can't mow wet grass with a rotary mower, correct? You can, but it creates a mess. And it's also a safety thing too, right? So you got to be careful if you do that. So if the mower blades are sharp, and you want to mow wet grass with a rotary, you can do it, but with a rotary, it tends to create a mess. With a real mower, it creates less of a mess, mainly because, not necessarily because you're cutting wet grass, but also because if you're real mowing, you are typically taking off a lot less leaf every time you mow. Like I mow my lawn, when I was doing my mow your lawn every single day for 22 days or whatever it was, like a lot of times in the morning, there was wet dew, the grass was wet, there was dew all over it, right? But when I'm taking off so little that as far as like clumps falling in the lawn or making a mess, it wasn't really that much of a problem with a real mower because I'm also mowing again frequently. With a rotary, you can probably do it, but it's probably going to create a mess, Troy. Just to be completely honest, I might just wait, raise your height of cut, and then mow it that way. I don't know that I would actually try. You could try it, but it's going to probably create a bit of a mess in your lawn. All right, let's see what else. What else we got here? Let's just. LG says, Ron Henry, will you please put on the protective eyewear live? I don't know if I can do it. How can I do it? Let me see. I gotta get the hat. I can do it live for you guys. So I'll put the hat on. I gotta have the hat because the hat is part of the magic, right? So I got the hat. Let me give you guys a profile shot because we need that. And I gotta look off into the distance, like I'm about to do battle with a shrub, or I'm about to put down some herbicide, or something that requires that eye pro. And I keep looking at it with that blank stare, and then smoothly, and then I walk out of the frame, right? You guys, you know what? You guys are too easily entertained, way too easily. Thank you, LG. I'm glad you enjoyed the glasses shot. And there, you just got it live. I made a fool out of myself on the live stream just for you guys, 'cause I'm sure you guys would enjoy it. But totally worth it because you guys liked it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yep, and then Krevko says, Let's Go mixes a 007 with diethiopear as well. Yeah, they make one with prodiamine and with diethiopear. So good point. Good call out. Crevo 81. And you're very welcome, Shirley. Thank you so much for watching. No problem at all. All right. And let's see what other questions we've got going on here in the live stream. I'm winding down. You guys can let me get out of here at a reasonable time, which is cool, guys. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Let's see. And Jerry Bermuda, this is a good point. Jerry has a technique that I have heard about before. He said, for high spots, I use a fine tip water nozzle, a hydrojet, and the dirt just flows into the lower area. Works great for me. Yes, the grass gets trashed a little bit for that spot, but it's Bermuda. So I have heard of that. Someone in the live stream actually mentioned that last week, actually blasting it with a tip, not necessarily a power washer or a pressure washer to help even out high spots. So yeah, something to help with that. Very, very cool. Great questions. Timothy says, thank you for answering my question via email. Sort of freaked out when I saw red tips from my Bermuda grass. Frost was the cause. Back to normal. Very cool. I'm glad to hear that you're in good shape, Timothy. Thanks so much for chiming in. Fernie C says, Ron Henry, are you related to Tiger Woods? I am not. I am not related to Tiger. No, I'm not. We're just, I don't. Here's the thing: Tiger and I do not look alike. Like, I actually will pull up a picture. We look nothing alike. I mean, our complexion, I guess, is somewhat similar, but we don't look alike, guys. I guess we might sound alike a little bit, but I don't look like Tiger, or Tiger doesn't look like me. I don't know. How are we going to say it? We don't look like each other. All right. Let's see. He says, hey, all right, Ron, I know you're into fighting. Yep. He says, if you're into boxing, then who's going to win, Canelo or Saunders May 8th? I'm not really into boxing. I am more of a, I am more of a UFC mixed martial arts, like point fighting, like I like kickboxing and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm not sure who's going to win that one. I haven't followed either of those boxers really well to be able to know, to really be able to give an opinion. 2 shots of vodka. But if it's a cool fight, I might see about getting it. A buddy of mine that likes to watch anything having to do with fighting might come over and we might get the fight just to see. It might be interesting. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. D-Dom says, I'm looking into purchasing a reel mower, but I'm located in Flowery Branch with hard clay and lots of little pebbles. What would you recommend before reel mowing? Depends on, so hard clay is a thing. Everyone in Gainesville area, Flowery Branch area, Oakwood area, Beaufort area, they all have red hard clay. It's a thing. When you say a lot of little pebbles, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like really, really small ones? Because in most cases, they're going to be below the height of cut that you're going to be mowing at. They definitely are when you first start out anyway. Yeah, they shouldn't really, unless we're talking about big, like small rocks, not really pebbles, it shouldn't really pose much of a problem, D-Dom. As far as what I'd recommend before reel mowing, nothing is really a requirement. Like, just start reel mowing. You can probably, your existing lawn can be reel mowed. Once you get into it, and if you want to get that golf course lawn look with that really smooth appearance, and you also want to help improve some of the problems that hard clay has, like with drainage, then that's where you want to look into doing things like top dressing. So aerating your lawn is something you can do anyway, even with your hard clay. But then once you top dress your lawn, that is a complete game changer. Like, it's going to help with the lawn's going to look a lot better. That's always a big benefit. But also from a standpoint of just improving like that clay soil from not being so garbagey or not so like all the things that are negative about it. What you really hate, where like it doesn't drain well, creates a mess, it's nasty. Like top dressing fixes a lot of those things. It's not inexpensive, but it is something that I would consider doing. I would not say that you have to do that before reel mowing. That is absolutely not true. However, once you start reel mowing, you're probably going to want to eventually top dress your lawn, because it does make a huge difference. All right. Let's see what else here we have going on here. Helmut Ruckus says, what's your take on applying crumbled chicken feed to the lawn? Seeing some guys lately doing that. Never done it, Helmut. I don't know. I can't comment on that. I've never done that to know what kind of results you could get. Probably will work all right, but I've never actually done it. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, y'all. Lawn Whispers in the house. What's going on, Lawn Whisperer? Thanks for coming to hang out for a second, man. I know you're busy. You're either at like the, making, baller YouTube content, or at the fire station, or, just being busy in general. But thank you for coming to hang out in the live stream for a little bit. I appreciate it as always. And congrats again on all the amazing growth your channel is seeing. Always like to see that. And awesome stuff. Thanks for coming to hang out. All right, let's see here. D6 Paintball says, I heard you were leaving the cores on your lawn at a time of aerating and leveling. You heard correct, D6 Paintball. Do you not believe what people say about having layers in your soil? I've been drawn towards soil for that reason. I think, here's the thing, without throwing shade, without getting into he said or she said, I'll answer your question this way. In my case, in Ron Henry's case, and in Alex's case, and in other lawns that I have seen case that I have, personally worked on, aerating, when you aerate the lawn, leaving the cores on the lawn doesn't cause a problem. I've never seen it happen. Like for 6 years, literally 6 years, my lawn has been aerated at least once per year in 6 years. On years where I do top dressing, sometimes it's happened twice. And I've never picked up a single core off my lawn, not one, right? So the thing is that in most cases, they tend to dry out and they will break down. And the next time you mow, you hit them with the mower and they're gonna pulverize. I don't like getting rid of the cores for a couple of reasons. One, it's just you're adding extra work to a process that's already super labor intensive, in my opinion, without really adding a ton of benefit. Like the cores that come out don't go right back in the hole that they came out of. That's just not a thing. Like, I mean, they may break up and some of them may go into some of the holes, but it's not like you pull a core out, unless you sweep it up, it's gonna go back into the exact hole. I can tell you, because today I aerated my lawn, I started top dressing it, and that didn't happen. But it just depends. Here's the thing: whatever makes you sleep better at night is what you should do. Like I can tell you that on a Bermuda grass lawn, on my lawn, and a couple other lawns that I've worked on, not picking up the cores is not going to cause a problem. I promise it's not going to hurt anything. If you pay a professional service, like if you go and pay Sandman to come top dress your lawn, and again they top dress I don't know how many lawns per year. I probably could say tens, maybe hundreds of lawns in a season. Maybe not hundreds, but I mean, probably over 100 lawns per season. That's probably a safe estimate. Their process is they come out, they core aerate the lawn, and they use like a real aerator. They use like a Toro Pro Core, like a Mac Daddy core aerator to pull that goes deep. They fertilize the lawn and they top dress it. They don't pick up a single core either. They don't pick up cores on the lawn. I think if you have a golf green, right? So if you have a green, I think picking up the cores makes a ton of sense, right? Because the idea is you're trying to remove material, you're trying to add sand down to add structure to a surface that is really punished a lot. Like golf balls are always hitting into it. It's just beat on a lot. And golf courses want to get the playing surface, want to get the green back up and running as soon as possible. So it makes sense that they wouldn't want to pull out cores and then have like cores and grass clippings all over the lawn and have those break down. Like their thing is they want to remove some of that material to put sand down. So for a green, makes a ton of sense. For a fairway, which is like what we're trying to go for on our lawns, our golf course lawns are really more like a tee box or a fairway, not super necessary. So in my case, I've never done it. It's never caused a problem. So I get it. I get what you're saying, D6 paintball, but it's not really a thing that I've seen. But great point. And there you have my answer on it. I am not picking up cores, and probably won't going forward. But if you want to, you absolutely can. All right, Timothy Wolf says, hey, Ron, thanks for all you do for the community. I joined late, so ignore if covered. Seeing seed stems, I guess you're saying, yeah, seed heads in my Bermuda. Should I apply PGR or do something different? Hashtag real rollers. Yeah, you can apply some PGR. PGR will help with suppressing seed heads. T-Nex, I know, I think it's not technically labeled for that, but it is an effect or something that it will do. The issue with seed heads is whenever you start seeing more heat in the lawn, like the lawn is transitioning from seeing cooler temps to hotter temps, is in my lawn anyways, when I tend to see that, like clockwork, and it's usually only a 2 to 3 week problem. So adding some PGR can help reduce that some. So yeah, if you're planning on doing it, go for it. All right. John Hines says, has anyone ever told you look like Phil Ivey, stud poker player? I need to have my hair cut a little bit shorter. I think Phil, I don't know, Phil is pretty short. I don't get the Phil. I don't like Phil Ivey either. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. But I've seen Phil Ivey. I mean, he's I know who Phil Ivey is, guys. I'm not like that much of a geek, right? I know who Phil Ivey is, but no, I don't think I look like him. But yeah, I've never gotten that one before. I get Tiger Woods a lot. I've never gotten Phil Ivey, but I'll take the association, I guess. All right, TND6 says, still learning. Thank you for looking at my soil tests around Easter and responding back. You're very welcome, sir. Glad to be able to help out. And Dom D says, they're pebbles, nothing too crazy, but they're sporadic. Top dressing is surely in the works after aeration. Yeah, so if you're gonna top dress, I wouldn't worry about it. If they're small pebbles, shouldn't be a problem. And if you're gonna top dress, even more reason why it's not gonna be an issue, D Dom. So you should be good to go. Let's see. So, Lawn Maverick says, can pre-emergent be applied to a newly established lawn in the fall to avoid POA, annua, and travalis? It depends. Here's the thing. I think most of the guidance, Lawn Maverick, depends on how soon, how early, like when the lawn was established, right? If you establish a Bermuda in, like, say, this past winter, so like December you did it, right? And you want to put down a pre-emergent in this fall, probably going to be okay, right? But if you did, and even with Bermuda is probably would be fine anyway. But if you did something like, you didn't say what kind of grass you're dealing with, but if you're dealing with, like, say you did like Zoysia, right? And you put down Zoysia like in August, right? I probably would not do a fall pre-emergent. I think I would just suck it up and just deal with the POA, because you don't want to do anything that's gonna hurt the ability of the newly established Zoysia, or the newly put in Zoysia, to root properly. So if it's, depending on how long it's been, if it's Bermuda, you can probably get away with it. But if it's Zoysia, and if it's been, the time frame has been less than 6 months at a minimum, I probably wouldn't do it. I would just suck it up and just not take the chance, because you don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the new grass. That's more important than a few weeds here and there. All right, last question. Fernie says, Ron Henry, do you miss your Scott's manual reel mower days? Not really. I'm glad I went through it. I mean, it shaped who I am now in the lawn game, right? Definitely. But I don't want to go back to doing manual reel mowing. I mean, I like my Greensmaster a whole lot, so I don't want to go back to that. And cool, guys. I think that is it. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching tonight. George, thank you for coming in the live stream. I'm not sure if you're still watching, but for hanging out with us for a few hours, I really appreciate that. If you guys have not yet hit the like button, the 81 of you that are still left, please do so. I would really appreciate it. It's an easy way to support the channel. If you're not yet a subscriber, hopefully the live stream has added enough value that you will consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. I do lots of great content and I respond to comments as much as I possibly can to help viewers out. So again, guys, thank you guys so much. I am about to go get some sleep. I got a busy day tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your Friday to hang out in the live stream. I will see you next time. Have an amazing evening. Go out and do something awesome in your lawn tomorrow. Take care.